Welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Dax Shepard. I'm joined by Emmy-nominated miniature Maximus Mouse.
Hey.
Boy, do we have someone we love in real life here today.
It's one of those moments where you pinch yourself.
You did a little pinch.
Yeah.
A little pinchy poo. Samin Nosrat. She has the most amazing documentary on Netflix that we talk about often. It's called
Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat.
The reason Monica said it is I always change the order, that's not what it is. Say it one more time.
Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. But it's a documentary series, 4 episodes, compartmentalized salt, fat, acid, heat.
Oh.
But first episode is fat, not salt.
Yes.
And maybe that's why you flip it.
Oh, that's a good, I kind of gave myself that same excuse when I was trying to memorize it. Yeah. Anywho, boy, did she deliver in real life. Guys, she's the cutest human being that's on planet Earth.
She really is.
She's the most joyful.
Beautiful energy.
Oh, we just loved her. We really want to hang out with her and cook.
Yeah, I want that.
She's tremendous. She's written an incredibly popular cookbook with the same title. She is accomplished in many ways that you'll hear about, and I really encourage people to watch that documentary. I don't like food cooking shows. I'm just going to tell you right now, I don't care about them whatsoever. Let's give this 5 minutes. Watched 3 hours straight.
Yep.
Incredible. All right. So enjoy Samin. Also, we have new merchandise on our website.
Yay!
We just had a photo shoot. It was very awkward, but we found a way to have fun with it, didn't we, Monica?
Sure did.
So we have a lot of fun new shirts that Wobby Wob put together. He's so creative and talented. I'm so grateful for you, Wobby Wob. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Some of your favorite expressions like Brick Shithouse have made it onto a t-shirt.
That's right.
And you can go to armchairexpertpod.com and order those. And while you're there, if you want to come see us live in the Midwest this summer, you can get tickets for Cleveland, Detroit, or Chicago. There are still some seats left. And please enjoy Samin. We get support from Quince.
Have you been wearing the Quince linen shirts?
Yeah, I've been wearing them a suspicious amount. Yeah, European linen ones, they're $34, which is genuinely insane for how nice they are.
It doesn't even make sense.
Well, here's the deal. They work directly with the factories, cut out all the middlemen, so you're paying for the actual quality and not some brand's marketing budget. Everything's 50 to 80% less than comparable stuff. I love it because it's all very classic and traditional, and I know I'm going to be able to keep it for a very long time, and the quality's off the charts.
That's true. The style is very consistent. Whatever you get there, you walk down the street, you're going to look good. They have these lightweight cotton sweaters, which I love for when it cools down at night. It's a nice drape around your shoulders in the summer and then throw it on when it gets a little cool. And it's not just clothes. They do home stuff, ding, 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 travel stuff, everyday essentials. It's all the same model, quality without the markup.
Make your summer wardrobe easier. Go to quince.com/Dax for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/Dax for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Dax.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
We were not going to start recording, but now we're going to, because you brought with you this beautiful little jar of apricot jam that you made, and then you started telling me about it, and I thought, you're already on fire. I want to know. Okay, so.
Yeah, because you're like, tell me the simple steps. And I was like, well, first
you were going to the only farmer in the world that is maybe a psychopath, but in a great way.
Amazing. His name's Andy Mariani.
And he only sells these apricots. First of all, I'm grateful you say apricot.
Oh, because some people say apricot.
Apricot, to me, that triggers like a snobby thing. I don't know what I'm basing that on. Maybe people think apricot is snobby, but to me, like apricot sounds a little snobby.
I think we should invent a new thing where maybe we could write a song, like instead of you say tomato.
Oh, right. Absolutely. We should get Bob Mervack on that. Okay, so you were just saying a couple of neat things you were saying is that an apricot, when you have them and they have a little color to them, like be it pink or red, and you were saying, I don't want to act like I knew because I don't.
No, it's amazing because it's like a blush on the cheek of an apricot, you know? And so it is really like blush. It's where sun shone through the tree's leaves and landed on the skin of the apricot, and like it's like a suntan of a fruit.
Oh,
which is so beautiful. Like, I never understood that, you know.
I've had a lot of jam in my life. Sorry, misophonia people, but I'm kind of finger feeding myself some of this jam, and there's so much happening. I was expecting to just have like some sweet in my mouth, but there's some depth to this. I don't have the
There's
right
a
food.
ingredient.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
That you can't reveal.
No, I'm going to tell you.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, secret generally means we're not going to find out. But
just like it's just not obvious.
you're like the magician who immediately shows you the magic
totally.
trick, which I like.
I have no game.
I like you. I think we should go out more times.
Yeah.
And in fact, let's go all the way.
Yeah, totally. That's 100%.
Okay, so what's the secret ingredient?
It's called noyau. So apricots and almonds and peaches and nectarines and plums, they're all in the same family, like the same botanical family called drupes.
Okay.
Which is such a good name.
And you said the lay person name is stone?
Or
fruit?
stone fruits, you know,
Stone
like
fruit,
anything
yeah.
that has a pit in it, right?
But not an avocado. I was wrong
But not an
about-
avocado, correct. And if you take an apricot pit and you crack it open with a hammer, there's a little nut inside that looks like an
Wait.
almond.
Oh, there's an even further nut within it. Because I think of that pit as being a nut, but it's
No,
not.
because if you have ever seen almonds on the tree or almonds in the shell, it looks
Yeah.
almost like an apricot pit.
Oh.
You know, so that's
okay.
just the outer shell. So if you crack it open with a hammer, there's a tiny little nut. It kind of is like a shriveled almond look.
Okay.
You're not really supposed to eat them raw because they have a tiny bit of cyanide.
Sure.
But if you toast them a little bit, it has the most heavenly taste of almond and magic and baby's hair.
Yeah. Like, to be honest, it tastes to me like you've ground up just a bit of like a Jack Daniel's cask. Like, like it's got a burnt woody, like there's something happening.
And so then I steep those in a cheesecloth in the jam.
Okay.
So it just like fills it with magic.
How are we getting rid of the cyanide? Just the heat?
The heat
kills it?
denatures
It's a
it,
very
yeah.
fragile poison. I need to remember that when I poison my wife.
Just feed her raw apricot kernels.
Okay, great. This should not be hard to do. She'll eat anything that
They're very
that
bitter though,
is-
so nobody really wants to eat them anyway.
I could mask it, I think.
Okay.
I could, yeah. Enough of something will probably. In fact, that you could probably advise me on how to do that.
Okay, cool.
Now, on an average day, how many hours a day are dedicated to either procuring or preparing or doing something cooking related?
I haven't had an average day in a few years now.
Right. That makes sense.
But before that, all day would be thinking about what I'm going to do, dreaming and planning and going shopping for it.
yeah.
And I mean, going shopping is one of my favorite parts of it.
It is.
Yeah.
Now, I have a theory, and it'll probably bump some people the wrong way, but I'm going to float it by you anyways. So for most of the time on planet Earth, humans were hunting and gathering societies, and the women gathered. We know this. The misnomer is, of course, like we historically thought like, oh, the man goes out and hunts. But then we have archaeological evidence that was about 4% of what people were eating. Totally
Right.
insignificant.
Totally.
Women were feeding everyone.
Yes.
But I do think that evolutionarily, women like to, my wife, she gets into the grocery store and she is on fire. It's like she just did a line of cocaine. I get there, I'm immediately exhausted. I'm like, too many options, too many colors, too many words, too many aisles. Everything is overwhelming to me. It's not a fun activity for me. But she is just, something kicks in, something like biological kicks in when she enters a grocery store. Maximum Mouse just entered. Emmy-nominated Maximum Mouse.
Hey.
Let me just give you a really quick miniature. Oh, you're wearing your sweatshirt. Oh,
Oh my God.
I just want you to know, because I want you to be able to file them in the right category. When I entered, they were both peeing at the same time in the bathroom and giggling, and there was water on. I was waiting to hear like a
for you.
splash fight.
I mean, the bathroom is an experience. I've heard about the bathroom.
Well, in your world, they call it an exhibition style kitchen, right? Where you prepare
yeah,
in front of the
open your
guests. Yeah. So I just think of it like, wow, this should be artsy, really. If you just put the right adjective in front of it, it works. But Samin was just saying, I said, if you retired tomorrow, what percentage of your day would be occupied with either procuring the food, preparing the food, eating the food? And she said probably the whole day virtually.
Really?
Well, also a big part of what I like to do is make the guest list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because that's your kind of overarching theme, which we'll get into, right? Is that you see eating, cooking, this whole thing is really just a conduit to community, yeah?
Totally.
And that's interesting. Do you have theories on when that dissolved?
On a good day, I'll be like, it never dissolved.
Right.
And I think there are a lot of forces in our lives. And I haven't done a ton of like historical research on this.
Right.
So I can only speak from my gut rather than from fact.
Sure.
But I will just
You could
say,
get elected quite easily. If
but I will even just say, like, I mean, I started cooking almost 20 years ago, and even just what's happened in our world in 20 years.
yeah.
You know, when I first started cooking, there was barely an internet.
Right.
And the amount of time that takes and the amount of brain space that takes. I mean, it's so wonderful in so many ways. It brings us closer together.
Yeah.
But also in a lot of ways, I feel like it puts sort of these like almost clear plastic barriers between us. You know, actually, maybe not even almost, like the screens. You know, like, right? So you feel close or you feel connected to someone.
Yeah.
You feel like you know what's up with them, but you're not actually with them.
Right. And we had a great doctor in here explaining like what actually happens to your physiology by being close to each other. Like it can't be replicated.
Oxytocin.
Yeah. You get
Yeah.
release just from looking in each other's eyes. You get dopamine dumps. All these things happen that you think intellectually are happening with this connection over the phone, but it's just
It's not the
physiologically
same.
impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the
But
same.
I think we could easily guess, though, that as both sexes started working, obviously there's less time to be out preparing, gathering the food, preparing the food and all that. I have to imagine that there's a clear correlation between the amount of processed, easily to heat up food explosion. It has to parallel.
There is a lot of homework like about women's lib.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like, how that affected sort of home cooking. Michael Pollan, who's one of my mentors and has helped, he actually wrote like a lot about this in his book Cooked.
Okay.
And he got kind of a lot of flack about it too.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, because I think some people took it like he was blaming on sort of the downfall of home cooking on women's lib.
Sure.
And I don't know. It's a complicated thing because to me, I'm like, everyone should cook. It should have nothing to do with gender. I actually was just reading the other day and I'm like asked this person to send me a bunch of research, but there has been some research done that says on multiple socioeconomic levels in the last period of time, I don't know, let's say 1 or 2 decades, more men have started cooking for various reasons. And even at the lowest levels because to me, if I think of men cooking, I'm like, oh, it's guys who like
Grill.
want a barbecue,
Yes.
or like,
Yeah.
or doing, or got really super into molecular gastronomy and buying the like gadgets or whatever. Like
Yes.
that's probably what I'm
That's
seeing
Charlie.
more of.
Perfect
We
10
have
Charlie.
two
Any new
smokes.
cooking method, he's immediately
Yeah,
obsessed with.
totally.
Like, sous vide, I must have this thing.
But what this person was telling me in the research, which I have not myself read, said that even at the lower socioeconomic levels, more men are cooking just because they have to.
Sure.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
an interesting, and then I just live in a world where I'm always going down paths of like, what will happen if? And, I live in the Bay Area and there's Soylent, and that's where all the food delivery services started. And that's where like the meal kit, actually Blue Apron is from New York, but a lot of that kind of stuff is being invented and disrupted
Yeah.
in the Bay Area. So I see a lot of it and how people are choosing it. There was a restaurant, it went out of business, but it was the innovation, and I use quotation marks quotes here, was that you would order your quinoa bowl, but like your entire experience of being in this restaurant was humanless.
Okay.
So like there was like a pad where you ordered it and then like a locker popped open and you got your quinoa bowl and it went out of business.
No, just quickly, do you think, I'm asking you to guess what their intentions were, but do you think they thought, that there's something high tech about this?
I wish I were a little bit more like articulate and prepared for this discussion. So my brother is in the tech world. He's an engineer.
Okay.
And my little brother, his name is Bahadur. And when the three of us, I have 2 brothers. When we were little, our mom was very fair, was always obsessed with fairness and not choosing a favorite and not treating anyone differently. So like in the car, we always rotated whose day it was to sit in the front. And at dinner time, we always rotated who said what their favorite dish was that mom was going to make.
Okay.
So like I was always like, make this, like thing with 9,000 ingredients, or make this complicated thing. And Bahadur, in Persian food, the dishes are usually like fava bean rice is baghali polo, or lentil rice is adas polo. So it's always like something polo, right? But like usually it's whatever's mixed into the rice. So Bahadur would always ask for like baghali polo without baghali, or like he just wanted to eat like plain. He was like, I just want to eat the plain rice, right?
Yeah.
And now he's on a ketogenic
cute.
diet,
right.
which he loves and has been really good for him. And he has a blood disorder. It's been like really healthy for him. But I always look at him, I'm like, that's so joyless. I could never do. I wish I could. I'd probably be a lot healthier.
Right.
But so Bahadur, this is all to like set a stage for him as a tech person. Like last week he went on a vacation to Japan. And he sends me this text from Japan. And he's like, okay, I'm not a coffee snob, but like, do you know anything about coffee? Because like, I'm seeing a system here that I can improve with tech. And I'm just like, you've never had a cup of coffee in your life. And you think, that's sort of like that tech thinking is like solve a problem.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. He knows nothing about coffee.
Right.
He knows nothing about like food distribution.
Uh-huh.
And he's just like so ready to solve a problem, but he doesn't know anything about this industry. And I'm just like, okay, there's like all these companies who are like merging with tech and have funding, and people have been solving these problems for hundreds of years and decades. And like you had one cup of coffee in Japan, and you think
that sounds like he and I would get along famously.
Seeing problems where maybe there aren't
totally.
any. Yeah.
And so there's a little bit, to me, I see that as a person, like besides cooking, I've spent a lot of time immersing myself in like understanding how food systems work and how food gets to our table in this country.
And when you say systems, you mean from it being grown or harvested?
Agriculture, the distribution of it, how community gets or doesn't get a grocery store, and how those decisions are made by the grocery stores. Stuff like that. I'm like you. I'm a dweeb who like likes to immerse myself in stuff and just understand all of the little minutia.
Right.
And not to say I'm like some big expert on all this stuff, but I know more than my brother. And I know more than a lot of those tech guys.
Do you think maybe in his mind, because I can see this is a lie I would tell myself. I would go, oh, it's actually an asset that I don't know anything about it. Because you can get so immersed in something, you can be inside of the forest that somebody on the outside that knows nothing about it can just go, that on the surface seems illogical. This is how it's working. Things can be like through tradition and all this passed down, and everyone that was, inside of it just can't even see it. So on some level, I would imagine he probably could do that. I want to be an angel investor into his coffee distribution.
Okay, cool.
ploy.
I'll let him know. But like, I totally get that. Of course, we need people thinking in different ways than the way how everyone has been thinking since the beginning of time, because like these problems aren't getting solved.
Right.
But also, let's say, moderating your ego to understand that you do need to understand some basic things, especially the food system in this country is so complicated. And getting food distributed, grown, cooked in people's mouths, in people's homes is so complicated. So to like think that you can, and I literally texted my brother back. I was like, are you literally texting me from Japan about coffee right now? And he wrote back, yes. I was like, let's talk about this when you get back. By the time he was back, he was over.
He had seen something else that wasn't working perfectly on his way home and got another idea. Now, when you say that it's complicated, I have to imagine there's a lot of factors that make it complicated. I would have to imagine at least one of them is it's a Herculean feat to feed 300 million people. Like in the way our agriculture has evolved into like big agribusiness and this and that, and how like even how they farm here in California is so different from where I grew up in Michigan, how we farmed there. And there's also been, like the wheat revolution that took a big tech breakthrough to actually feed 2 billion people. So I would imagine that's one element of it. And then I have to imagine the business incentive is a big component of it.
And government subsidies.
Government subsidies, right. The fact that everything we eat is made from corn virtually, right? Because
corn, soy, and wheat, yeah.
Because that's what we subsidize. And I think the logic behind it, right, is corn keeps really well. It's not completely insane, right, that they doubled down on corn. Because I've often thought, why don't they double down on spinach? That's much more healthy for us. They could figure out all these products from spinach. But spinach does not keep all that well. But you can dump corn in a huge silo, right, and it stays.
Yeah, I guess that's part of it. I think also, like, a lot of it had to do with post-war. They were like, we need to make sure we bolster American economy. All of this energy and stuff that was going into creating weapons, they basically, those companies pivoted and started creating pesticides and herbicides.
Right.
Like, it's just such a complicated thing that traces back. Sometimes when I find out where something started, my mind is like, what? That's the reason?
Yes.
That we're still doing this?
But I do want to say before we even go down these roads that you have a show, Fat, Acid, Salt, Heat.
Salt, fat, acid,
salt,
heat.
Fat,
Acid, heat.
I love you so much, Minch Ross.
Well, you started on me, so you can start this.
Yeah, salt, fat, acid, heat. I just want to start by saying this.
Yeah.
I don't like cooking shows. I'm not very interested. Monica and Kristen and I started watching your show, and we thought, oh, we'll watch 5 minutes of this to see.
Yeah.
And then we watched 3 hours. We watched the first 3 in a row.
And then I went home and watched the last episode.
You stayed up till like 1 a.m.
Yeah. It
was
was so good.
riveted with your show. First of all, it's just so elegantly shot. I've never been more hungry in my entire life. I was honestly saying to Monica, I'm like, we're booking plane tickets right now for Italy.
Yeah.
I can't go another
We need
week
pasta right
without
now.
tasting what she just showed us. Okay, so number 1, it looks beautiful. Number 2, it has some magic architecture to it that's not like any cooking show I've ever seen. It's not like you starts an episode by going like, well, I'm going to show you how to make veal parmesan today. It's not like that. It's this weird exploration of culture, of food, just the passion that some people have. And then you're 95% of the magic ingredient because you're so lovely to watch. There's something so infectious about watching someone do the thing they love the most.
Yeah.
There are moments, y'all, if you've not seen the show, it's so fun to watch. You cry several times.
I know.
I cried in every episode. They didn't show them all.
Oh, it's so special.
Samin will take a bite of something. We were both like, as much as we wanted it, we were also like, we wanted to feel the way your
Yeah.
capacity to
I'm gonna
feel.
cry right now.
Samin she takes a bite of something and just starts crying. And you're like, it already looked amazing. Now that I'm seeing it's brought her to tears, this thing must be transcendent.
Maybe every 15 minutes, one of us would say, I like her.
Yes, yes.
We like could not get over just the feeling we were getting from watching it.
You're one of
So
the most
visceral.
likable people I've ever seen on screen. You're so likable. So we became obsessed with you, became obsessed with your show. People have to watch your show. It's so, so good. It's one of the best documentary series I've ever seen. It's
Thank
just
you.
so beautiful in every way. It's such a wake-up call. To me, I'm like, oh no, short ride on planet Earth. Let's like eat the greatest things that I can have and let's be thoughtful about it. And not in any kind of lofty, elitist way. You're going to make a decision 3 times a day to eat. We must all do this. And you could have a crazy, great experience any one of those 3 times or all 3 of those times. And it's just, it's more than just eating it.
A lifestyle.
A lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's who you are. And then you have a really interesting story that kind of gets revealed pretty late in the documentary, but we're going to blow all that right here. But you have an interesting origin in that your parents came from Iran to San Diego in 1976. Yes. And can I just quickly ask, what did Mom and Dad do in Iran before they left?
They were both English teachers at the Air Force Academy in Iran.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where they met.
And there was the Shah Revolution.
Yeah.
Is that what?
So my dad's side of the family is a religion called Baha'i.
Okay.
And my mom's side of the family is Muslim. And so Baha'is were facing religious persecution, or they knew that they would once the religious revolution occurred.
Right.
So basically Baha'is like all fled. So my dad's side of the family dispersed.
We have
all
a
over
huge
the world.
Persian community here in like Beverly Hills and stuff. Do you think they were largely Baha'i?
No, they're largely Jewish for the same reason.
Okay.
Religious persecution.
Okay.
And so, I mean, and also there are a lot of Iranians who are just secular.
Well, even currently, it's one of the higher rates of secularism within the Middle East.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so it's like an awkward thing because it's a religious republic, but
Yes.
a lot of people aren't really religious. And so
Yeah.
my dad's side of the family all left, just fearing that persecution. There's also, I don't know, in my personal family story, there's a lot of lies and deception.
Okay.
And like gaps. So there's so much I don't know that has never been told to me.
Right.
So I can only sort of guess certain things. But what I've sort of pieced together is that people could tell for years that this was coming, that
Right.
the tone of the place was changing.
Yeah.
So they all left well in advance. So there was not really fleeing.
Oh,
so
that's
much
good. So there
as
was like a planned departure.
Although technically I think my dad and his side of the family were technically sought religious asylum here.
Right.
But it wasn't the kind of like really, really intense like refugee that you see sort of on the news today. It wasn't like that.
Right. And so their skill of teaching English, probably highly valuable in Iran. What then do they do in San Diego?
So I had an older sister when my parents came. She passed away as a child when I was 1.
When you were one.
And so my mom was raising first my sister, then my sister and me, and then later me and my brothers.
Yeah.
And my dad, he had always wanted to be a photographer.
Uh-huh.
And so, but his dad like wasn't cool with that because it was a little too dreamy and not practical enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's immigrant. It's like a classic immigrant stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So my dad worked at, do you know, like, I don't know if they still exist, but there was National University. You know, it's kind of like a for-profit, you know, like.
Like a Phoenix.
Like a Phoenix University. Yeah, he was the dean of foreign students. Like he helped foreign students get their paperwork done because he had just gone through it, right? He had just gotten visas and stuff.
Yeah. And you guys lived in La Jolla, which is a really nice.
We lived not in La Jolla. I went to La Jolla High.
Okay.
But we lived in another suburb nearby.
But things were good. They were comfortable and.
It was comfortable-ish. It was interesting, like when my mom like did all the like typical amazing sort of like, you know, any mom would totally do this, but my mom figured out the rules to get me to get into the La Jolla schools because they were like better ranked.
Sure.
And the only way I could get to go to them was to take Latin, which I'm really grateful for now, but at the time I was really pissed about. And
Why are you grateful? Because there's so much in cooking that's...
Just like it made it really easy for me to learn Italian. It made me, I understand like the base of so many languages.
Yeah.
I'm really glad now that I took it, but at the time it was like, all the cool kids took Spanish.
Sure.
And so when my mom like got for me like the ability to go to this school in the fancier suburb, she like sat me down and she was like, I just want you to know, like you're going to go to this school. You're going to see other kids and they're going to have stuff. They're going to have cars. They're going to have cell phones. They're going to have fancy clothes.
Yeah.
And you're never going to get that. Like she was like,
don't
let me
ask.
be clear. She was like, and when you come and ask me for that, I'm going to tell you no. You know,
so it was real talk.
Yeah, real talk.
And real talk to me. You're not getting shit.
Like clockwork. You know, the next year I was like, Mom, like all the kids have suede hush puppies. You know? And she was like, remember what I said? And so most of the Iranians at the school and in like who were around me were of a different socioeconomic class than I was. And I didn't really fit in with them in that way. So it was this weird thing where I wasn't sure where I belonged.
Of course. Miniature Mouse, we've explored her story a lot on here. And I was wondering how much you felt on the outside of all that.
I have always felt on the outside. And I think that that's like the defining thing of my life.
Well, it can be, it can become an asset, right? Yeah.
And then it ends up paying off.
Yeah, totally. And I feel, to me, I'm so just like acutely aware of what it feels like to not belong or to feel like you don't belong, that I feel like everything that I make now and do now, I don't want it to make anyone feel that way. And of course things do. Of course there is always that.
Yeah, people seem to see, I don't know why, but good food or organic food or sustainably harvested or anything, you know, pesticide free, it triggers in people this elitism, which is a bummer. I'm really upset it's been branded that way because it's preposterous to think that anyone should be eating, you know, more or less healthy food based on what socioeconomic bracket.
Well, it's so interesting. I'm no stranger to this because Alice Waters, who founded the restaurant where I learned how to cook, and in a lot of ways is my ideological sort of like forerunner in cooking. She's always accused of.
She started Chez Panisse.
She started Chez Panisse, and she started the Edible Schoolyard, and like she is like 5,000 times a day accused of elitism. And I work in this office with all these amazing writers, and one of my friends, Twilight Greenaway, she has this thing that she always talks about that's so smart, where she's like, you know, the whole thing got turned upside down because the labels that we put on food, we say organic and regular, right? We say organic and regular. But if you think 10,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, 200 years ago, organic was regular, you know, not using pesticide, not using, until there became like money and business and like labels and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Then somehow organic became the thing that's for yuppies and for fancy people. I mean, originally it was for hippies. Like it was actually not fancy at all.
Right.
But as business opportunities sort of availed themselves in this realm, it's been pushed higher and higher sort of up the socioeconomic scale, or is perceived to be.
Well, it is. Well, we can acknowledge that in general, it is more expensive. Like at least when I go to my grocery store, the organic produce is more expensive than the non-organic. So that's a reality, which is unfortunate. But
that's also because there's like an entire certification process that you have to go through, right? Like it's just this business that's been built up around it.
And I'm also really sympathetic to people who feel this way because when I met Kristen would regularly be going, you know this stuff in Costco and the aisles you shop in? that's not food. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you're so fancy. That's not food. What are you talking about? She's like, no, all those other aisles where they need to refrigerate it, that's food. Anything that would sit in a box for 14 years and taste exactly the same as it would 14 years before, that's just the shape that has perfume on it. Like, that's what you're eating. And I was like, you're fucking too highfalutin for me. What are you talking? No, a box of macaroni and cheese is delicious and blah, blah, blah.
I mean, it is delicious.
Well, first and
You can't
foremost,
argue that.
yeah, there's few things better than a box of Kraft
Kraft,
macaroni and
yeah.
cheese. I like to add 2 packets personally. But at any rate, you know, I'm 12 years into this. I bet 6 years into being with her, I finally started accepting, oh yeah, those aisles aren't food. I mean, in the way you'd want food to be food.
Yeah.
And I now, it happened to me, like where I walk by all that stuff and I'm like, oh, that shit will be good for the next 40 years. That's not food. But again, no one was pushing it on me. I was triggered by that whole thing. And now I get it.
It's so complicated, and I think about that a lot. Because the thing about food is it's, you know, apart from sex, I guess, it's like the most personal and intimate thing in our lives, right? We put it in our body multiple times a day. It becomes part of us. You know, our childhood, our nostalgia, our memories, what we were taught by our families, our good times, our bad times, it's all wrapped up in that.
Yeah.
So trying to teach somebody, and I'm using air quotes here,
Yeah.
or trying to change somebody, or telling them that
You're right,
their
it's-
way is wrong or bad is so much more than like, you should be eating broccoli.
No,
or
you're
you
right.
should
It
be
triggers
broccoli.
their identity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Still all my favorite when my mom visits. I just make her make one red meat dish after
Every
another,
day.
ground beef
She
dish
makes
after
a lot
another.
of good beef dishes.
Well, like what? Can you tell me a few?
Yes, so she makes tremendous spaghetti. She makes incredible meatballs. The meatballs are, it's so lowbrow. It's like you make your, because I make them as well. You got some onion in there, some onion powder. You got some breadcrumbs. You make some balls. You throw it in the big electric fry pan. And then you
Ooh,
put
I
in.
love an electric fry
Oh,
pan.
me too. You can cook anything in there. Then you pop in 1 jar of the Heinz 57 chili sauce. And then you pop in some raspberry jelly. And
No.
then, yes, and then a bunch of A1. And you just let that shit stew for like 3 hours. And it's
so
so
good.
salty and so sweet at the same time. You can't
Do you
stop
feel-
eating
It's
them.
water.
Do you feel self-conscious explaining this?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
No, it's
Well, I'm telling you,
But
you
where
would.
did she invent the raspberry jelly edition from?
I don't know where she got that one, but we both use the same spaghetti recipe, which is we incorporate carrot and rosemary, and that came from my grandma's friend, and then we got our hands on that recipe, and it lives in its original handwriting in like a little book I have.
I love that.
She also made, here's one, this couldn't be more lowbrow. I made this for Monica not too long ago. Ground beef in a pan, a lot of ground beef, diced onion, a little garlic, salt, whatever. Then a can of Campbell's cheddar cheese soup.
Oh, right.
Mix that up. Then you make your Bisquick pad, and you roll out a Bisquick pad, and then you cut little slats in it. Then you shovel half of the meat into this casserole. So then you put big hunks of sharp cheddar cheese on top. Then you crisscross all the Bisquick, and you knot it up, and then you pop that in the oven. Now you still have half of your concoction in the fry pan. You add another can of Campbell's cheese soup. That becomes the gravy. We're not done. You pull it out. You dump gravy on it, but then you need ice cold applesauce to pop on
Wait,
there
what?
with it. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yes. Every bite should contain half of the Bisquick thing concoction,
But you
and then
called it something. Now I forget what it was called. You had
you're
a
not
name
thinking
for
about
it.
shit on a shingle.
No.
Okay.
What's that?
It's a casserole.
I've heard of that.
So we make this. This is in my family for generations as well. It's only prepared during Christmas.
Very special.
It's it's a religious dish. We're going 1 pound ground beef, 1 pound hot Jimmy Dean sausage. Mix that up. Whole block of Velveeta. Mix that up. Pop that on little rye toast crackers. Then dump garlic salt all over that. Pop that bitch in the oven. Pull it out. I'm telling you,
So good. I think I've had that before.
greater than the
Yeah.
sum of its parts. It's incredible. We have a cooking expert on here, and I just took 10 minutes talking about my
Explaining
white
your
trash.
on a shingle.
Oh, I love this stuff.
We
Yeah.
spent like 2 months every Wednesday. Dax would make one of his recipes, which was a lot of this stuff.
All white trash stuff.
Yeah. But it was all so good. And it was so fun. It was like every Wednesday we knew we were going to do this thing.
Yeah.
And it was community, like
Yeah.
you said.
Yeah, and the anticipation, and
my
then
God.
these
Yeah.
chicken
I
sandwiches.
really want to come to one, please.
Oh, I would love to have you. If Samin took a bite of our chicken sandwich and cried, I don't know what I would do. That would be the
I would
ultimate.
for sure cry.
Okay, back to La Jolla. You graduate from La Jolla, you go to UC Berkeley. That's a hard school to get into.
I think 20 years ago things were a little different.
No, because I went to UCLA 1 year after you went to Berkeley, and at that time, UCLA was like starting grade point average was 4.09, and Berkeley was harder. Hard school to get into, and you must have done brilliantly in school.
I was right, like I was the oldest kid in an immigrant kid family. The message I got constantly was basically, I mean, subliminally, not like
overtly.
was like, you are only as good as your grades, right? You are only as like worthy as what you accomplish.
Absolutely.
And so, and to me at my school, I was in the classes with basically all the immigrant kids, which were like the super duper advanced
AP
classes,
stuff.
which was very funny because I have this is like how desperate I was to be viewed as a smart kid because I wasn't sure that I had anything else that was worth anything about
Of course,
myself.
yeah.
When I was in 9th grade, I was put not in the like independent study super duper. I was just put in regular advanced, which was still
regular
like,
advanced.
You know what I mean? Like, which was still higher up than something. But all I wanted was like that to be on the like top tier.
Yeah.
So I came up with this crazy plan. I mean, it was so insane. And I went to the high school counselor and I told the high school counselor that the teacher said I could be in the class. And then I went to the teacher and told the teacher that the counselor said.
Can I tell you something? You'd be a great film producer because that's what they do. They go lie to the director that Brad Pitt wants to do it, and then they go to Brad Pitt and say Scorsese wants to do it, and neither of them wanted to do it, and they end up in a movie. It's genius.
Yeah. So, and then they let me into the class and I was like, I've made it. But then
Something tells me you didn't get that accompanying feeling you thought you were going to get.
it was like totally empty and horrible. And actually, after 10th grade, I dropped back down. I was like, I don't like this. It doesn't feel good. And that was in 11th grade. I had this English teacher who's really changed everything for me. And he told me I could write and he really encouraged me to write. And so because of him, I went into college knowing I wanted to be an English major.
Right. So you go to UC Berkeley, you're an English major, and your goal is to be a novelist because you're not
poet.
You're a poet. Very employable skill.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Most poets are
I'm
swimming in money and retirement funds.
My parents were so proud.
Did you have favorite poets that you emulated?
I really loved humor in poetry.
Okay.
And so Thomas Lux was a great, very, very humorous poet. Billy Collins was sort of just coming around. And eventually he became poet laureate. He's really funny and really sort of very grounded and down to earth in his writing, which I really liked. I also loved like Emily Dickinson, who's I think like death day is today, like 200 years or something.
Oh, really?
You can fact check me
I will.
later.
I sure will.
People often ask us like who we'd want to interview, dead or alive, and she'd make my top 10
God.
list.
Oh, yeah,
Her,
that'd be a
so
great one.
fascinating.
Yeah.
yeah, do you know a lot about her?
Not a ton, no, but just the fact that like she was worthless till she was dead. That's a good one.
And she sat in her room virtually her whole life, right? And she had an imaginary love affair with the gardener. She was like obsessed with the gardener because she would watch him out her window and stuff. It's crazy what can emanate out of your imagination because it's not like she was experiencing much of anything.
No.
Yeah, yet it's somehow it's so resonant.
But yeah, was it hard to tell your parents you were going to do poetry or did they not
Nobody was
care?
very proud. I mean, everyone was in denial.
Yeah.
They were like always like, oh, but when are you going to change your major to something, you know? And when they realized I wasn't, then it became like, well, when are you going to go to grad school for something like actually useful? It's
Of
sort
course.
of, and still I think like some of my aunts and uncles every once in a while will bring up grad school.
Yeah, well, don't rule it out.
Yeah,
don't rule it out. Yeah. That could be
Keep it on the back burner.
That could be your next Netflix series that you go to grad school.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Could teach at a grad school.
Yeah,
They should have cooking at school.
Well, they have.
Cooking at school.
There was a fascinating 60 Minutes a few weeks ago. Did you see it about the competitive wine tasting rivalry between Oxford and Cambridge? No. These motherfuckers, they can identify. I think they have to taste 1,500 wines in the competition, and they can tell you what country it's from, what region, what year, what grape. Like it's
And
crazy.
it's a club. It's like a student club.
It is a student club.
Wow, that's so
And they're
cool.
athletes.
That's amazing.
It might have been on HBO Real Sports. I might have just advised the sommelier last night a wrong network, which scares me. Because I asked him if he had seen it and he hadn't.
Yeah, I'll find out. That sounds great.
So up till that point, you didn't cook as a kid. And then how do you discover that you love cooking?
It was a bit of a journey. So my freshman year during the orientation at school, they're like, oh, there's these things to do in Berkeley. And somebody said, oh, there's a famous restaurant called Chez Panisse.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what's a famous restaurant? I mean, it's not, I just want to explain, like San Diego, 1997, immigrant family. Like my mom's an extraordinary cook. I grew up eating her food. And then we had tacos.
Shakey's Pizza
Or
occasionally.
Shakey's Pizza,
Sure.
yeah. I don't know
Salad
if I've ever
bar.
gone to Shakey's, but I really wanted to because they had the combo of chicken and pizza.
Yeah. They also generally have a salad bar, which I never turned down a salad bar.
I love a salad bar.
I've
Still.
had food poisoning more than anyone you'd ever meet because I'm such a proponent of the salad bar.
Oh my God, Whole Food Salad Bar is like my second favorite restaurant.
Can I just tell you really quick? This is one of the most embarrassing stories ever. So I did a USO tour, and there was a in Afghanistan, and on the way back, we had a layover in Kuwait, and there was like a first class lounge, and I had been eating like army rations for 9 days. So we get into this first class lounge, and there's this beautiful buffet laid out, and I'm like, oh yes, and I start going at this buffet, and I'm with 3 friends, and they're all going, you back off this buffet, you don't really know what's going on. This is beautiful food, it's beautiful. Girls, the plane had not left the terminal before it occurred to me things are going south in a hurry. I had a 12-hour flight to Germany, then a 8-hour flight to New York, and then a 5-hour flight to LA. Without question, the worst 30 hours of my entire existence on planet Earth.
Oh my God.
Literally considered, I'm going to have to break my sobriety and drink alcohol. Like, I need something.
Yeah.
Something has to help with this situation.
The last time I had food poisoning, I didn't know what else to do, so I went to emergency acupuncture, and that totally helped. But,
It did?
Yeah. And she gave me some crazy Chinese herbs because I was in such pain.
Yes.
I mean, the pain, and you just feel like you're I think dying would be easier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You went to Chez Panisse. You didn't even know such a restaurant
it was
exists.
a fancy restaurant.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And so I was like, why would I go there? And they're like, oh, your parents can take you when they come to visit. I was like, maybe white people's parents take them. Not mine.
Yeah, your mom's coming up with a rice cooker.
Totally.
And,
And so then, I kind of just knew that it was there.
Is it outrageously expensive?
I mean, I think for what it is, I wouldn't call it that. But as a student, it's 2 restaurants in one. So downstairs, it's a formal dining room with like a fixed menu.
Preset, okay.
And then upstairs, it's a la carte. And so
Free for all?
Free for all, yeah. And so downstairs, I think the Mondays were $35 and then the price goes up. And by Saturday, it was $65 or $70. So for a student, it was definitely more than I would ever spend. And so I just was like, why would I go there? And then my sophomore year, I fell in love. And my boyfriend was from the Bay Area, and how he like showed me, his favorite pizza and his favorite burrito, his favorite ice cream, and he'd always wanted to go there. So we saved our money for 9 months, 8, maybe 7, I can't remember. Some months.
Yes.
7 months, let's say. We saved $200 and we went there.
I love this story so much.
I love it too.
There's so many elements I like. I like that you can feel like an outcast in high school, and then you go somewhere special like Berkeley, and then you find somebody, and then you save your money and go to a romantic restaurant. I want to time travel.
And no wonder. I mean, so some of your first experiences are love tied to food.
Totally.
So it's kind of no wonder you.
And like we, by then, I think because we were saving up for this thing, I started learning about it.
Oh, okay.
And so then I knew a little bit, maybe who Alice Waters was. And I found out that we had friends who were bussing tables there, and I still didn't really know very much. And we went in. I remember I wore a denim skirt and a black tank top, and we would go sit down. And now that I know every inch of that restaurant, every detail, and I know like the time of year we went. It was May. It was around this time of year, and it was graduation time. So the room was filled with people and like graduates and their families, and and regulars who'd been coming there. But it's a fixed menu. So like in theory, every table should have the same thing, but some tables had other things. And I was like, oh, what are those? Like, I was like, who are those people with the other things?
Sure.
And so food came, and it was really delicious. But again, like I'd grown up eating really delicious food. So that wasn't exactly what sort of knocked me off my rocker.
Uh-huh.
What really got me
Knocked
was
your tank top off?
Yeah, knocked my tank.
Yeah.
What really got me was just I had never been to a restaurant that felt like going to someone's really nice home.
Oh,
And that's what it feels like. Again, at the time, I mean, I was 19. I definitely was not aware of or couldn't have articulated all the individual things that I was seeing and feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I understand, for example, like you walk in and there's these amazing flower displays.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, and until very recently, Chez Panisse was the only restaurant in the country that had an in-house, like on-staff florist who now it's like everywhere you go. And on Instagram, there's these sort of wild style floral displays that look like a garden brought inside.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the woman who started that like 40 something years ago at Chez Panisse is like the mother of that style. Like had I ever even paid attention to a flower besides like the dozen roses my mom bought once in a while? No, but like these things sort of like implant on some subconscious level. Like Alice is obsessed with copper and the way that light bounces off of copper and the way that that makes people look in a dining room. It's really flattering light. And it's really warm light. And so there's all these copper light fixtures, and on every table there was a copper lantern. Later I learned that the man who was on staff who built all of that stuff and that handiwork was from Afghanistan. And there were a couple Afghan families who Alice had sponsored and brought over and sponsored their visas, and they became like part of this amazing, almost 50-year institution. And, you know, this guy Khalil, he was an engineer in Afghanistan, and here at Chez Panisse, like he was the guy who could build anything and could fix anything. And so he built these beautiful copper lanterns. So it's just like every single thing had been thought through to make you feel a certain way. And I couldn't have ever put words to why I felt that way. I just felt that way.
Right.
And that was the first time in my life that I had ever had that, other than like maybe in my mom's arms, you know? And so the dessert was this chocolate souffle. And I had never had souffle before.
I want that. I want that.
Totally, me too. I'm like, let's go. And so they brought it, and the server said, you know, obviously we were sticking out like sore thumbs, like two kids, right?
Yeah.
And so the server was like, oh, have you ever had souffle before? Obviously not. And so she said, would you like me to show you how to eat it?
So already I applaud you, because I would be triggered by that. I would feel stupid and low rent, and I would have said yes. And then I would have destroyed it.
I mean,
yes, of course I've had many, many souffles. I had one before we got here.
And so she said, oh, you poke a hole in it with your spoon, and there was like this raspberry sauce, and you pour the sauce in, and that way every bite has sauce. So I took a bite, and she said, how is it? And I was like, oh, it's really good. But what would make it even better
good.
is a glass of cold milk. Because like I was too dumb to know many things. I was too dumb to know like how rude it is to tell the person in the restaurant what would make your thing better.
Right. You know, you'd have a hit on your hands if you served this with milk.
Yeah, totally. And also to me, I was like, you know, your whole life, you're like warm brownies, cold milk. Like, warm chocolate chip cookie, cold milk. So I was like, this is missing milk. And she was like, you want milk? And I was like, yeah. So she went and she brought me a glass of milk. And then she brought us each like a glass of dessert wine to teach us like the refined accompaniment.
Okay.
Because only years later, like when I lived in Italy, did I understand that like in fine dining and European dining, like milk is considered for babies. And so if if you're in Italy or France and you order a cappuccino or a cafe latte after 10 a.m., they're like, oh, you're American. Like Italians only drink like, dark, like anything with milk is baby food.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting.
And so I was like, if already I had not given away my uncouthness by asking for milk, I really had done it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I still maintain like warm chocolate.
Pretty
cold milk.
Yeah, I guess my follow-up question is, it did make it better, didn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And
there's a great burger place in Santa Monica called Father's Office.
Oh, I love Father's Office.
But they don't fuck with ketchup, right?
Yeah.
And they don't mess with Diet Coke either.
Totally.
So when I lived on that side of town, I used to go with a backpack and I'd sneak ketchup in and I'd sneak a Diet Coke in. And I was like, I'm sorry, guys, this is already perfect, but it just got more perfect.
No, it's so good with that blue cheese. And so then I was very moved by this meal, and I always had a job throughout college, like to help pay for my stuff. I was like, well, maybe I can work here. So I wrote a letter. I mean, I had no idea who to write the letter to, so I addressed it to Alice Waters, and I said, oh, I had this magical dinner. Here's my resume. I've never worked in a restaurant. Can I please have a job? And I brought it in and they were like, oh, you have to bring that to the floor manager. So they like led me to the floor manager's office. And when she opened the door, it was the souffle lady.
Oh.
And so even though by now, like it had been several months, like I went abroad and I came back and then it had been several months, but we remembered each other. And so then she was like, oh yeah, you.
Yeah, milk lady.
With the milk.
The baby.
And then she was like, can you start tomorrow? Which meant nothing other than she was desperate, you know? But then I started the next day, started bussing tables. And so, you know, and like I said, I'm like this immigrant kid who was taught that my self-worth was based on working really hard.
Yeah.
And so I'd always been searching for like people who were as crazy perfectionist hard workers as I am. And that environment in that place was the first time that I was like, I found my people. You know, like my first day at Chez Panisse was the 28th birthday of the restaurant. I had been there for 28 years already. There was a system for everything. And so like when I was being taught to take out the trash, they're like, oh, you tie the bag in this way with this string. And then when you take it out, you put it in the trash can in this way. Alice doesn't like it another way.
Right.
You know, to me, I was like, what? Like everything's been thought of. This crazy insanity is like my language.
Yeah.
And so I just was like, challenge accepted.
Yeah. Well, it's like a complex machine. It's like cogs, right? Like it's so easy for one thing to go wrong and then the whole thing collapses.
Exactly. And if you don't want to be the weak link in a whole system, you know, and for me at that point, I had no interest in, I wasn't really there for the cooking. I was there just for the staff meal. I was like, I want to get there at 4 p.m., eat the first staff meal, work my shift and eat again at midnight. I was like, 2 meals. Yes. And it just, everything tasted so good. But you see, you know, all the time you're walking through the kitchen and vacuuming the dining room and sort of seeing how this place runs and the fact that like it's all about the cooks. The cooks are sort of the most revered people there. And that really, at that time, that generation of cooks there, many of them had been there like almost the whole life of the restaurant.
Oh, wow. Was it mixed ethnicity with the cooks or did they like some group seemed
so.
to? No, they were white dudes.
White. I mean, no, a lot of women,
okay.
Mostly white. I'm trying to think. I mean, there was a whole generation a little bit after me being there. They called themselves the Shasian invasion. Like,
Asian, Chez Panisse.
A lot of Koreans and Taiwanese and like Filipinos and stuff, but primarily white for sure. And in fact, I only now, as I start to understand like systemic racism and stuff, do I have words for certain things that I could not have put my finger on in that time, that one of the reasons I felt so different was because I wasn't white. But like, I just was never even thinking about it.
Sure. Yeah, of course. Everything's just normal. It's the one life you've had, and that's how life is. So it's like not even worth questioning. Like, oh, this is how it is. Now, how long before you worked your way up to cooking there?
So that I bussed tables for about a year, but like within a month of being there, I have a journal from that time. And so in a month, I was asking them to volunteer in the kitchen. And so once a week, I would come in and volunteer like all day before my busing shift. And then
like chop vegetables
or
something?
God, it was even like lower than, like I was maybe allowed to peel onions, you know, or like pop fava beans all day or something. And then I was like, can I get a job here? Like, what do I need to do to even get an unpaid internship? That would then maybe possibly lead to a job. You know, at the time the restaurant was getting like every year best restaurant in America, Gourmet magazine and stuff. And so, you know, they had their pick of whoever they ever wanted. Like, and so there was a lot of competition and there was really no reason to choose me. And eventually one chef sort of like took a liking to me and he was like, listen, I cannot give you an internship. You don't know anything, but here is this huge stack of books. Go read them, go cook from them, learn them. They're what inspires our cooking here. Pay attention every day when you come to work. Pay attention when we're tasting and talking about stuff. And come back to me in 6 months. And so I did that. He figured out a way to like help get me an unpaid internship. So I started doing that. And then eventually, after like much
after you murdered one of the chefs.
After I murdered someone, like opened a space. It took a lot of, I was very resilient. Like when people didn't necessarily want to give me an opportunity, I just sort of didn't disappear, you know? And the thing about a restaurant is, and that's what I tell anyone like who wants to be a cook, just keep showing up because there's going to be a day where like there's an accident or someone gets sick or someone doesn't show up. And like that day you're a warm body and they'll put you in. Like,
There's also, again, I don't know if it's the same at Chez Panisse, but I've worked at a few restaurants and there is, and also I'm sure you read Kitchen Confidential and I love that book. It's a life in the fast lane if you work at it. I mean, people are fucking more, they're drinking more, they're doing drugs more. I have to imagine the opposite of your childhood home.
For
Yes,
sure.
yes.
For sure. I mean, Chez Panisse, by the time I got there, it had definitely, I think there were the Coke years in the 80s.
Oh, sure.
I mean, there's probably still drugs and stuff while I was there, but I'm so naive. Like, I'm like, wait, people have sex? Like, I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, people do bad stuff? Like, so there was so much,
You probably
of course
just
I was
missed them.
reading. I think I just wasn't even like operating on that wavelength. I was like, am I cutting this right?
Yeah.
So there's still stuff where I'm like, people do bad stuff. Like,
Right. But a bit of a culture shock, just that world.
yes, totally. And the drink.
The servers, they go out drinking afterwards. Like people, it's like a late night lifestyle.
It's a totally different life. Even in, let's say, less like in just the enjoyment of food is almost like sport, right?
Well, I have friends that are waiters around LA at nice restaurants, and their budget of what they spend on food blows my mind. Like it's just because that's their world. Like they're virtually working to eat at all these other restaurants. It seems common.
And I fully did that in the beginning. That was my thing, was because I wanted to immerse myself in this world and learn about it. And I remembered everyone was talking about some place called the French Laundry, and I was like, why are we talking about a laundry place? Like, I had no idea, Yeah. and then like one year it won number 1, and it pushed Chez Panisse to number 2. And we were all like, oh, we got to go there. Like, what is this thing?
Yeah. And now I've not eaten at Chez Panisse, but I've eaten at French Laundry one time with Kristen. And I'm not a foodie. I would not describe myself as a foodie. The reason I can say that place is special for me is that food I categorically hate, I loved there.
Oh, you did? Awesome.
I don't like caviar. I don't like oysters. Their most popular thing is diamonds and pearls, right? It's caviar and oysters, I believe. I had a bite and I was like, I'll need 5 more of these. Like, there's no way that amount is going to do me after now tasting it. And just all the pageantry, the little egg coming out that had been sawed off at the top, and then the mother of pearl spoon, it was so crazy. It was so unlike anything I've ever experienced. And I said to Kristen, I'm like, this is adult Disneyland. Like this,
it is.
This is the most like erotic experience I've had outside of the house, and it just doesn't end. We started eating at 9:30. We didn't finish till 12:30. When they pulled it, they go, "Oh, do you want the white truffle with this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want whatever you're selling." They brought that box out with the truffles. A guy put on white gloves to open it, and I said to Kristen, if they murder someone for our amusement, I won't be shocked. That's how heightened this experience is. Like, it's so crazy. What was your takeaway from that?
I only have been there one time.
Really quick, did you go at all with a little chip on your shoulder that you were a Chez Panisse gang and they had...
I was just curious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you didn't go there to go like, how the fuck did they become number 1?
Oh, no,
okay,
not at all.
okay,
It was also so much beyond when I was part of that thing. I was just so curious because by then I'd heard about it forever. I'd looked through the book.
Yeah.
I think for me, what I felt was that it was, and I say this in the most positive like version of the word, which is not so different than what you were saying. It felt like a spectacle.
Yes.
Right? Like to me, it was all about this like, very heightened experience.
Yes.
Where, and I was just from a service point of view, so impressed. Every person at the table had a personal server. So the food was like all put down like in a symphony. And so everyone got their plate at the same moment. I was there with some other food people. So we got like these weird extra level special treatment things, whereas like the table next to us, everyone would get the same soup. At our table, everybody got a different soup. So then there was this whole thing where everyone decided we should all taste all the soup. And like 5 and like it was just a lot. It was a lot.
Well, the whole time I was eating there, I was like, this is something you would never do even more than once a year.
No.
You couldn't eat at this restaurant once a week.
Year, once a lifetime.
Yeah. You're just like, you're aware of that. It's like a cruise to Alaska or something. You're like, well, I won't do this again.
I spend a lot of time thinking about language, and I spend a lot of time thinking about like just the word restaurant and what the word restaurant means. And because there are all these lists like best restaurant. And so people think of restaurants as a place that you go to and you sit down and you order food comes and you eat it. But to me, what a chef like Thomas Keller or any of these other really great chefs in America and around the world who have taken sort of dining to that level are doing, it's a mistake to put it in the same category as all of the other things that we go to for many other reasons.
Yeah, Denny's.
And so Denny's, which you go to when you're hungry and you're driving somewhere, or
you're hammered and it's 3 in the morning,
or you can't afford to eat out, and that's where you take your family for.
Or in my
special
case,
meal.
your 6-year-old saw a sign in the window that said pancakes for $3, and then we had to take her.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
You know, for me, just as a writer and as a person who thinks a lot about this stuff, I'm like, man, I wish we had like a more nuanced language for
Yes.
this, so that people don't, when they think of chef, there are a lot more versions of what that could look like and be like.
It's kind of like they say the Inuit or Eskimos, you know, that they have like 63 names for snow.
Yeah, exactly.
And we have a singular one. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
if it has that importance in your life, it
Yeah.
then deserves all these other.
Yeah. So to me, the comparing, sure, within a category or like a, you know, like a one sort of stratus, I get. But to compare things that cost different and have like completely different sort of labor involved and purpose, honestly, purpose for the customers
Yeah.
is a mistake.
And it's interesting because I get a feeling as qualitative, if that's the way to say it, when I go to Lafayette, Coney Island in Detroit, where I've been going since I was 6 years old, and they memorize 40 people's orders at once. They add the bill up in their head. The food comes out in 39 seconds. It's every time it's perfect. Everyone in there is having the same experience. Like that is on par with French Laundry. It's just entirely different.
It just satisfies a different thing in your life.
Yeah. So you start cooking, you become a chef there, and then you leave and you go to Italy. Was that a hard decision? Because you had accomplished this thing you had obviously been
So I was
working at
never
for
a
years.
chef, which are the people in charge. I was just a cook.
Oh, okay, a cook.
Yeah, just
I
to
don't
be
even
clear.
know the difference. Okay.
And so just to not take credit where I don't deserve it. And
Okay.
so I really had always wanted to go to Italy. I just became obsessed with it.
Had you broken up with that nice boy
was
that
gonna
took you?
ask
to-
Dumped
that.
me.
Yeah. But did that overlap with your decision to go to Italy?
It was over by then. Yeah,
Okay. Quite often these radical changes for us
It's
that
true.
then change our life in a positive way
totally.
are born out of like being heartbroken.
Oh, I was heartbroken for years over that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Good.
So
good,
maybe
good.
still.
Mike, come in. Mike, come in. I'd like that one show.
some
We
healing.
found him. He's here. He's
I think I
regretful.
go hide in the bathroom.
He saw Salt
You wouldn't be
Facet.
able to hide very well in
Yeah, I
that
know.
bathroom, unfortunately.
I'll stick my head in the toilet. So I really wanted to go to Italy, but more than that, I think the chef who gave me the opportunity, this was also before Kitchen Confidential came out, and it was
Okay.
even before Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 Hours had come out. And they were always telling me, you won't know anything about cooking till you've been cooking for 10 years. And even before he gave me the opportunity to be an intern, he said, I see in you, like, you're so smart. You're this great student. Go do that. Don't be a cook.
Yeah.
And he was like, if you're going to be a cook, you have to realize there's nothing glamorous about it. This isn't going to lead to like riches in a television show.
Right.
Like
well,
it's,
he's eating crow now. But
yeah.
and
Bill, come on out. It's like an episode of Fantasy Island. Like, you could tell Mike you don't want to be with him. You tell Bill he was wrong.
and so he was, I mean, his name
No,
was
that
Chris,
was
and
that's
he's been
very
incredible.
sage advice.
Yeah. And he was like, when you decide you want to do this, it has to be the thing you want to do more than anything else in the world, because there's no other motivation that's going to keep you going.
Yeah.
And here I was like so earnest. I went home and like meditated for weeks. Like, do I want this more than anything? But I really wanted to write. And so I went back and I was like, listen, I want it almost more than anything, but I also want to write. So,
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, you can come.
Okay.
And so I still always was like, how can I write? How can I be a writer? How can I figure this out? And so I did apply for graduate school because that was the only thing I knew to do after, like, what do you do when you want to be a poet? You go to poetry graduate school.
Yeah.
So I applied and I got in, and I was in New York visiting the campus. And that same week, Chris, that chef, was on his family vacation in Italy. And I had asked him if he saw this woman, Benedetta, who had come into our restaurant for her book tour. Could he ask her if she'd ever let me come intern in her restaurant? And so while I was visiting the poetry program, he wrote to me and said, she said yes.
Oh my God.
So then I had
wow.
this decision, and I was like, do I like go $90,000 in debt for poetry,
Yeah.
or do I go to Italy? And so I was like, okay, I'll defer so I don't have to make it. So I deferred and I went to Italy. And so because I had such limited sort of thinking, again, I understood things through an academic perspective, through like an achievement perspective, and I had heard of this thing called a Fulbright grant, and I knew that it was prestigious.
Yeah.
But I didn't
I've
know.
heard of it and I don't really know what it means.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't even know why a person would get that, but like, I want that.
Yeah.
Just in a way where you're like, ah. So I did the homework to figure out what it was, and it's a grant that like students, often people in graduate school or going into graduate school would get. And I was really interested by then in all of the stuff about food tradition and food history and all of this stuff. And in the late 90s, there were all these laws that were passed in Europe that sort of threatened to sanitize food traditions and create basic sort of regulations like health and safety regulations that would crush and eradicate like thousands-year-old tradition.
My brother's father-in-law, they're Chaldean. His cousins, there's a cheese that they make in there in the carcass of a goat.
Oh, yeah, that's the original cheese.
Right.
Yeah, because the enzymes in the belly are what thicken they react. That's like where
Emulsifies it or
and
something.
turns cheese from a liquid into a solid.
Yeah, all these Chaldeans wanted this cheese. The FDA is not allowing you to
Totally.
make cheese
We have
in a
that in Iran,
carcass.
too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so these guys started doing it, and it became like everyone wanted this cheese,
Underground.
and they were
Black
making
market
it in the
cheese.
carcass, of
Yeah,
a
yeah,
goat or a
totally.
lamb or something. Yeah,
Totally. Exactly. And in Italy, there was a cured meat called lardo di colonnata. And colonnata is near Carrara, where all the marble's from.
Oh,
And so in Colonnata, historically, literally since ancient Rome, so 3,000 years, they make this lardo, which is a cured sort of back fat, in these marble boxes that are kept in these caves. So it's very cool in there. And marble, I fact check, please, but I believe has like some antiseptic qualities.
Okay.
And so people for 3,000 years have been eating and making this, right? And fine. And then when these regulations were passed in the EU, lardo di colonnata was threatened to be stamped out of existence.
Sure.
And so because it was not like in a stainless steel kitchen in a refrigerated room.
Yeah.
And
Generally good guidelines.
yeah, totally.
Yep.
And Italians were like, no, this marble is the flavor of our food. It's our terroir. It's our history. It's who we are. And so the people of Colonnata like revolted, and they were like, we're not going to follow this law. And there was a period in the 90s where actually whole oven pizza was outlawed because
Oh, really?
anything,
Carcinogenic.
maybe. And then again, still like Italians, they were like, fuck this, we're going to break the law.
Right.
But so I was super interested in all those things. And there was a little bean in
Have you seen a Ferrari? It makes no sense. We make it anyways. This car has no purpose for anybody but a man trying to get the attention of a woman.
Totally.
Did you like him, Monica?
No.
Okay.
She like turned her body away.
They're
can't-
white.
when he
I can
does
do
this, I
it.
can't
They're
do
white.
that.
I'm allowed to do it. It's one of the 5
I know.
things
I
I
just
can
can't
do.
look at you when you're doing
Okay.
it. It's too-
Monica, what's the
That's
problem?
better.
Now I'm holding my hat in front of my face so you can handle it.
Oh boy, it's a lot of this. It's a lot of
A
this.
Ducati. Who needs nobody needs a Ducati, but to ride a Ducati is to feel passion between one's legs.
God. Okay.
Rob's like, oh God.
A Fiata.
Enough.
Okay.
Enough.
Rob's
I
like,
got
I
to
was-
stop this. Yeah, exactly. Okay, go on.
and so, yeah, but I was very moved by all that. So I was like, I'm going to apply for a Fulbright grant to study and catalog these food traditions because I was like, this is a dorky, academically parent-approved way
Sure.
of doing this cooking and going to Italy, right? And
This is
also like
clever.
having cooking and be involved. So in order to apply for a Fulbright, you have to be able to prove proficiency in the language, which I didn't have. So this is a thing like only a 20-year-old or 22-year-old can do. Well, I was saving up to go to Italy. So at the time I got paid $10 an hour. So I needed
But you
to...
get tipped out pretty nicely there, right?
Not as a cook.
Oh. So everyone's making more money than you.
Oh, yeah,
virtually.
the cooks make the least money, yeah.
Oh.
Which is pretty true
crazy.
in most restaurants, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, the guy who owns Shake Shack, that was kind of his.
Oh, Danny Meyer, yeah, he has a whole thing where he splits. But if it's built into the restaurant from day one, it's different. And California has certain laws
Yes.
that are a little bit trickier.
It's even tricky for him. There's been a lot of,
Yeah, but he is really great, and certainly in that respect. So then I was saving up. So I gave up my apartment. The chefs helped me find like a series of house sitting gigs so that I didn't have to pay a rent.
Can I say one thing? I'm already seeing a pattern in your life that is so useful to acknowledge. You ask for help.
Yes, I do. And I'll write the letter.
Yeah.
I'll ask for the thing. I'll be like, how can I do this? You know,
Yeah,
today,
it's a-
like, we
it's
were
a
having lunch. We're like,
brilliant-
how do we solve this problem?
It's a wonderful way to go through life. I have such a hard time asking for help.
I think personally, I have a really hard time. Professionally, I have a really easy time asking for help.
Right. And but by the way, I have been asked for help or guidance professionally, and I always enjoy so much being a quote mentor to people. Like I get a lot out of it. I never assumed the people I would want help from would also get something out of it.
I
But
know,
anyways, it's
'cause
just
we
a
have no
great
self-worth. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Self-worth. Who needs it? I love you so
I
much.
just want to hear
missed
the
you.
rest of the story.
I know, but I missed you.
I missed you
I've been
too.
gone for 4 days.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see you, and I
Happy
was
to see you.
trying to spin the knife in your tummy a little bit.
You did it.
Okay.
You sure did
We're
it.
back where we left off.
So the house sitting place was an hour away from Chez Panisse, and my job started at 6. So I'd wake up at like 4, drive to work from 6 to 2, take a nap on like a friend's couch, drive to San Francisco from across the bay, take a 4-hour Italian intensive class, and then drive an hour back. Like it was just insane, And then I like bamboozled the teacher into like marking that I was proficient when I really wasn't.
Sure.
And then I went to Italy. Then I went there and I worked and I learned and I did all the homework and I like continued.
And you got a
filling out-
Fulbright?
No, I continue. It took me. I was still doing like all the research to fill out the because it's a lot of. You have to do a whole grant proposal, and so I was sort of meeting people and proving that I had the connections because I wasn't going to go through university. Did I know people in the food world who would help me? And I did that while I worked for Benedetta, and I applied and I became a finalist, which I was so excited about. And then in order to not disqualify myself, I had to leave Italy. So I came back to wait for the results, and then I found out I was the first alternate. And I was like, this is a terrible heartbreak.
My God.
And I didn't know. I
So
was
much
just like,
work.
that was my plan. Like, what do I do now? And Benedetta just said, just come back. Like, you don't need that. Just come back. So I went back and I worked another 1.5 years with her. She also, the thing that was so wonderful was Chez Panisse is an extraordinary restaurant with a kitchen that is so unique because it's built to teach cooks. It's a teaching kitchen.
Oh.
And the menu changes every day. So over the course of a calendar year, or if you're there for longer, like you get to do everything new every day. And you learn all of these ingredients and you get so intimately acquainted with them. And there's such depth of experience in the restaurant that like everyone else can teach you something. It's amazing. And I felt so lucky there. But also it's a huge place relatively. And I went to Italy and there were like 3 people in the kitchen. And all of a
Right.
sudden I was given so much more responsibility. And doing things that if I had stayed at Chez Panisse, like it would take me 10 years before they'd let me touch a fire in that way or whatever.
Yeah.
And I got this direct mentorship from these 2 incredible women. And so that was really, really powerful and really special. And it gave me so much confidence. And so when I came back from that, Chris, the chef who'd opened the door for me at Chez Panisse, had left. And he opened a restaurant in Berkeley, an Italian restaurant. So I went to go work for him because I was like so,
Perfect.
immersed in everything Italy by then.
Yeah.
Is she in the documentary?
Yes, she's the one that I make pasta with.
Right.
and the regular.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There seemed to be a sweet history there.
Yeah.
That Italy was my favorite of the fat.
The
I
episode.
think it's my favorite. I mean, every
They're
time I
all
say a
so
different
good,
thing.
though.
It is. It was interesting to see where we all fell because Kristen's favorite was Acid Mexico. Like that, she was the most hungry watching that. I was definitely Italy. I'm like, I'm going to go
Yeah.
there and I'm going to kill myself eating.
Yeah. It was hard for me to decide between Italy and Japan.
Oh, the salt thing really got
Yeah,
you.
it was just so,
I was weeping like a crazy person at the soy sauce factory. The guy and the generations and the
Yeah.
bacteria, and he's the steward, and the thing tastes so good. And they were like, I was like, why didn't you use any of the crying footage? And she was like, you actually looked insane because the guy didn't speak English. He didn't know why you were crying.
Sure,
Like he just looked
sure.
confused
scared.
and you look crazy. Yeah.
Yes.
So like we couldn't use it.
But
Yeah.
there's something
Yeah.
really mystical about that episode, I think, which I really like. But the food, yeah, the Italy one for me.
I mean, just
also.
for just texturally, I
like the
wanted.
Pesto.
Oh, the pesto looked so
I wanted
good.
that tagliatelle bolognese.
Yeah.
That- I was like, I bet that is the best bite
It's
of
so good.
pasta you could ever have.
I want that so bad.
So
Oh my God.
you go to work at the Italian restaurant in Berkeley. How do you end up deciding to make your cookbook? So I wasn't probably clear at the beginning, but your show, Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, is also the title of your cookbook.
So, because the menu at Chez Panisse changes every day, and because like they had given me this stack of books to read, in my mind, by the time I entered the kitchen, I was like, okay, cool. Like everyone here has just memorized 40,000 recipes. Like that's how you guys know how to do everything every day, no matter what, without a cookbook.
Right.
Like literally.
Because they don't use
No,
a
they're like not
cookbook.
measuring anything, nothing. They're just like, oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. I'm like, what is happening? I started to see that this pattern of these 4 elements was like, no matter what we were making, no matter where in the world it came from, it was this universal thing.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Was this the way you've categorized it into 4 elements? Was that proprietary to you, or was that a known thing in, like, if people go to culinary school? Are you the first to have this take on it?
I think the articulation of it is mine, but the like theory, I think, well, so after like probably 2 years in the kitchen, I went to Chris and I was like, I see this pattern, salt, fat, acid, heat. And he said, yeah, duh, we all know that. And I was like, but nobody told me it.
Yeah.
Right.
And he said, yeah, but that's just how we all cook. And so every cook or every chef I know, nobody's come to me and been like, you're wrong.
Yeah.
I just don't think anyone used those words and like organized it in that way.
Yeah.
I don't think I invented anything. I think I invented a way of talking about something.
Right.
Even as a young person, like in that kitchen early on, I was like, one day I'll write a book about this, because this is this thing that these people understand and after all these years of experience. And yet it was not in any of these books, and no one ever explained it to me. And if they didn't explain it to me, they're not explaining it to any home people.
Yes.
Yeah.
We watched it and I was like, oh, she just explained how I make one thing that I didn't know why I did, but I would into it. And so it was the acid episode, because I'll have to make Kristen this angel hair, olive oil, angel hair, garlic salt, 1 egg, a lot of Parmesan, and then cut up Roma tomatoes. And half of them I cook in there, and then half I add later. And what I didn't realize I was doing is I would make it, I'd take a bite, and I'm like, it's a little bland. And then I would add more fresh tomato. And then now all of a sudden you could taste the Parmesan cheese and all that. I didn't know what was happening.
But that's what you were doing.
On accident, I was doing something. And I was like, oh, now this all makes sense. I was like trying to find that balance between the acid and the fat.
The example I always use is anybody eats Mexican food. Like you're like, or like I always get bean and cheese burrito. So I get my bean and cheese burrito and I'm like, what do I do to this? Like, or if you especially get like bean and rice and cheese, it's very starchy.
Yeah,
so you're
love it.
like, oh, I have to put sour cream on it. I have to put guacamole. I have to put salsa. And you do it until it tastes right. But what you're doing is sour cream is acid and fat. Salsa is acid. You know, guacamole is salt and acid and fat. So like you're doing those things. You just don't have the words for it. I just help create language so you understand how to talk about it, which helps you understand why. So that next time when you're making a new thing and you taste it, you're like, oh yeah, this doesn't have that thing that when I get my right bite of pizza or my right bite of Mexican.
Right. And a lot of times for me, it's just, it tastes murky. Like I can't isolate anything.
Yeah.
That's like when I've fucked up. I'm like, I don't know, it's mush. I don't know. I wouldn't know whether it needs more salt or more this or whatever.
Oh yeah, that happens to
Like
me.
when you mix all the paint colors together and you're like, oh, we have black.
That
Okay.
happens like in things like chicken salad. Anything that has like a million ingredients, a lot of times that happens for me. Then I
Right.
have to take a break and come back later and taste it again.
Yeah. And you're a big proponent of tasting a lot
Totally.
while you eat.
Yeah, you got to taste the whole way. It's not just going to magically taste good at the end. Yeah.
Right.
And so I knew the whole time I was cooking, I knew that this was my system, my philosophy. And then I always, you know, as a cook in a restaurant, like 5 minutes after you start, somebody comes in even like less experienced than you. So you have to then teach them how to do the thing.
Right.
So over time, I developed my own vocabulary for it. And I was suddenly teaching younger cooks, like, this is how you make a vinaigrette. You have to balance this, this, and this. So then in 2006, the writer Michael Pollan, who I really admired, who wrote The Omnivore's Dilemma and The Botany of Desire, he had a reservation at a restaurant and I saw his name in the book. So I wrote a card. Here I am again. I wrote a card and I said, I admire you so much. I'd love to come audit your class at the Graduate School of Journalism at Berkeley. And he wrote me back and he said, okay, come talk to me. Initially, he didn't want to let me in their class just because it was really little class. And then I persisted again and so he backed down. And then that was a really important thing for me, not only to get to work with Michael, but because this class of young journalists really became the foundation of my writing community and my like there are documentarians and radio producers in there who now are amazing. You know, that was 13 years ago. And so still like my community that I have really leaned heavily on, especially because I didn't go to graduate school and I didn't know what a pitch was or like what a 500-word story is or like there's all these weird words like nut graph. I was like, what's a nut graph? You know, like my editor would write me back nut graph and I'd be like, run over to Malia's office. I was like, Malia, what's a nut graph?
Yeah, what is a nut
Yeah,
graph?
what is?
It's like the who, what, where, when, why, like in a nutshell, you know?
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, the graph is paragraph. So like all these like things, you know, that are the word, the lingo of the thing.
Yeah.
And Michael was just like, you're waiting for some like thing to happen, like some award or some grant or something, but just start writing.
Right.
So I just started writing for like local newspaper and then like slightly bigger magazine, then bigger magazine. And then he hired me to teach him how to cook for a book that he was writing called Cooked.
Uh-huh.
And as we were working together, he was like, you're really into these 4 things, like, you know, and I was like, oh yeah, that's my system. I always thought I'd write a book about that. And he was like, yeah, you should. And I was like, oh, that sounds really hard.
Uh-huh.
He gave me really good advice. And he said, listen, like you live in a delusional universe where everyone who you know who's written a book is already famous in some way.
Yes.
And so you have this idea of what a book is or what sells a book,
Yeah.
but you're wrong because what really sells a book is a unique and powerful idea. And this is a unique and powerful idea that I've never seen anywhere else. So stop trying to do the cool thing and do this thing. And I was like, I don't even know how to start. And he said, go teach the classes. Teach the classes over and over again. Make yourself a curriculum. And that curriculum will become your book proposal. So I did that. I taught the classes for like 3 years to anywhere, like senior citizen center, children's area, you know, cooking school or whatever, on a farm. And as I taught, I sort of saw how to talk to people. I started drawing myself like little diagrams to explain stuff. So Michael, who I really was trying to emulate as a writer and a thinker, he does this amazing experiential kind of journalism where he starts as a newbie and goes on the journey and takes the reader with them. So he can talk about very complicated stuff,
Yeah.
like the food system and corn subsidies, but without talking down to you because he's
Right.
learning too.
He starts on your level.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I was like, oh, I want to do that. So I tried to sort of do that both in person and on the page. And I realized I couldn't because my job was to have authority because I am your teacher and you are coming there for that reason. But I realized that in the classes, what I was so good at was empathizing with the students and realizing like when they were frustrated or scared about something or messing something up, I was like, I remember that because it wasn't that long ago. And I was the person who was messing up I've messed up everything you could mess up.
Right.
And I remember how it feels. And I also now can show you exactly how to fix it. So I would tell all these stories of like every terrible and like dramatic mess up that I've ever done.
Yeah.
And that would then like, we had a relationship. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is how I can be on your level is through these stories of everything I've ruined.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
to me, like it wasn't a dent on my authority. It just was a sort of a path of empathy and sort of we now have a relationship.
Yeah.
Again, I think a lot of this comes from like being an outsider and a kid who felt like I didn't fit in and that messing up was going to make me feel like I didn't belong or I hadn't earned my spot there. So to me, I'm like, no, messing up is the way there. Like,
Yes.
you know, and if I can help you see that, like also because I love that we have all of these ways to experience cooking that we didn't 20 or 30 years ago. I love that there's beautiful food shows and food Instagram and all that stuff. But also what a lot of that stuff does is it sets this crazy bar for what you think you should be able to do at home. Your thing should look as perfect as that thing. Your
Right.
thing, you know, why is my egg omelet not so perfect? Why is my sauce not so perfect? And it's like, well, do you actually know like how many stylists it took to make that picture or
Yeah.
how many years of training it took that chef to do that? That part of the story is not told in those images.
That's still the element that I'm a Philistine about. I don't understand the presentation. It doesn't, it like the visual
Just sprinkle
doesn't.
some herbs on top.
But
It
you
doesn't do
understood
anything
French
for me.
laundry. It did something for you then, like the whole to-do of it.
Yeah, but like when they
know?
bring out the plate in front of me and they've drizzled something around the edge in some way,
yeah.
I'm like, give me a lot of the sauce. That's what I want.
too.
I want a lot of the sauce
Yeah.
that I can dip it in. I don't want it spread out like a Jackson Pollock. I just, that's the only element of it that I can totally relate to, like the value of texture, the value of the taste, the value of all this stuff. The presentation to me, I put it all, shake it up in a fucking magic bowl, throw it on my plate. I'm fine.
Well, that's why I think like one way that I do like to think about the difference between like a very high-end restaurant and say like home cooking or even just like really great restaurant cooking that's much more sort of a reflection of like home traditions, you know, is I think of the stuff that happens on those really high levels as art.
Mm-hmm.
And I think of the stuff that happens at home or in homestyle restaurants as craft. And so to me, one's not better or worse.
Right. They're just different.
They're different, and they have both a lot of work and time and effort that's put into them.
Yeah.
But they exist for different reasons. And so, you don't go to, we just keep saying French Laundry, and I'm not harping, but like you don't go to French Laundry to like get full.
Well, although you will get full.
But that's, you're not like, oh, I just need to satisfy this hunger. Let me go to the French
Chris
Laundry.
and I had a very sincere conversation where we were like, if we're going to continue at this rate for another hour, we're going to have to go throw up like the Romans did. And we looked at the bathroom, and it's virtually in the middle of the dining room. We're like, well, that's not an option. We can't be in there throwing up. We're just going to have to figure out how to put more food down.
Oh my God. Did you get up and like jump to like quit?
No, is that a technique we should have employed?
No, I was being silly.
What if we were like running in place for 10 minutes trying to burn some calories? Well, listen, Samin, I adore you. You have a new book that's coming out shortly.
150 years.
150 years. Oh, it was just announced, I guess.
Yeah, we just sold it. Don't tell anyone.
Okay.
It's going to be called What to Cook.
What to cook.
Yeah.
I guess importantly, you'll be working again with Wendy
Mack. Oh yeah, beautiful Wendy McNaughton, who illustrated the first book, is also going to illustrate the second book, and she's so talented and amazing and smart. Her brain is amazing. You would be fascinated. She has so many different experiences in her life that lead to who she is and how she works. So she uses all of this different stuff to be able to tell stories. So, for example, she in the beginning knew nothing about cooking. She was my guinea pig in a lot of ways. And so if I knew, for example, let's talk about pastas.
Yeah.
We've talked about a lot.
Please.
Yeah. So like I love pasta. I've spent a lot of years making it. And yet in my book, I knew I wouldn't have a lot of room to give 1,000 pasta recipes like I wanted to. So I had to figure out how can I give the minimum information that has like the maximum punch.
Right.
That gives you, if you can read this and cook these, you can realize you can cook anything. So I was like, okay, I have to learn how to organize pasta into some system that makes sense. So for like weeks, I would just write down every pasta I could think of, every pasta dish with different sauces, the shapes, the whole thing, until I started to see a pattern. And I was like, it took me a long time to figure out the pattern. And I realized that there's sort of 5 families of pasta sauces. There's like tomato-y, cheesy, like seafoody, meaty, and vegetable-y. And sometimes they overlap. And so I was like, oh, how can we explain this? Is it a Venn diagram? Is it a flow chart?
Right.
What is the visual way to tell this story?
Yeah.
So that I can give you 5 recipes, and then you can start to see how they could all overlap and interact. And if you know
you can
one,
like slide the lever between
exactly.
here and there. Yeah.
And so Wendy had worked on another chart years before called Literary Circles of Influence. And it was this kind of very charming and funny, but also true sort of visualization of writers and philosophers and thinkers over like the last 1,000 years and how different people have like in ways that maybe you know, in ways that you don't know, affected and influenced other people. So like Shakespeare and Lemony Snicket or something like that, like Plato and I don't know, Dr. Seuss. And so I was like, oh, maybe we could make a pasta circles of influence. And there's a way where like this one relates to this one and you might not know how, but if I can show you, then you know. So then at that point I drew kind of like a very rough one and I hand it to her and she goes and makes it into this beautiful thing. And she also puts her own very funny spin on it. And so when I had kept calling them like pasta families, she titled it Pasta Nostra, the intermarriage of 5 great families, and made this mob joke. And so it's just like there's a lot of like very fun, that kind of stuff between us where and a lot of them were just visual puzzles where maybe my brain doesn't work in that way, but I knew that there was some way to connect things. I just didn't know how.
Right.
And so especially for the next book, which is all about decision making, this all started because I was trying to think of like what cooking show to do next. And Netflix had suggested that I should think of an idea that I could do in a studio. And so, but I was like, my heart will shrivel and die if I have to do like a regular cooking show because that's not what I care about.
Right.
And the like concept of those is you show up and you're like, today we're going to make this, and this, like contrived sort of like fake dinner party or fake story or whatever.
Yes.
And I was like, well, what if it wasn't about a fake story? What if it was a real story? And what if it was the real story of like my actual day? And that way I could actually teach you how I got to what I'm going to make and why I'm making those things. And also, you know, like even in a magazine, if you like see a spread of recipes and they've created a menu, that menu may have nothing to do with your reality, right? Like you maybe at your house, you don't have that much counter space, or you don't have that kind of time, or that grocery store is not near you or whatever. So if I could actually, in the same way that I broke down, I guess, how to cook, I could break down the decision making and like what's the right thing to cook based on maybe if your kids are screaming their heads off and you have to have dinner ready in 20 minutes.
Yes.
Or if like it's Thanksgiving, at Thanksgiving, people are always like, I can never get everything cooked because everything is in the oven and I know I'm enough oven space. So how do you think through that? Or how do you think through like, you know, you went to the farmer's market, you bought way too much stuff. Like, how do I use all this up? Or on the flip side, you just got home from vacation and there's nothing in your fridge. What do you make? And so my idea for the show was like every episode could explore a different scenario because there's endless of these scenarios.
Yes.
And then Netflix was like, actually, we want another travel show. So
Oh, good. Okay.
so that one's on the shelf for now. But then then my agent was like, you know, that's a book. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I have to write another book. And then I was like, please don't tell me that terrible truth. and then we immediately realized that kind of like flow chart decision-making thinking is meant to be illustrated by Wendy. Like that's what she's so good, is me teaching you like, look at this, if this, then this, look at that, if that, then that. Don't make something that has to be stewed if you need to have dinner ready in 30 minutes. Right.
Guys, if you only have 15 minutes, the Bizquick ground beef casserole can be tops. Yeah, I could bang one of those out in the next 20 minutes for sure. Well, Samin, you're so adorable. We like you so much. I really hope you, I want you to not overwork yourself, but I also want you to have a new cooking show like yesterday. Yeah, because
we need more of that.
We're working on it.
We need more of that.
My working title, which I'm sure will get overruled by the powers that be, is Carbs of the World.
Carbs of the world. I thought you were going to say Measletov, but no. That's a joke from a few episodes ago. Well, such a delight. I really hope you come back when you do finish another show or another book. Yes.
Well, only if next time we can record the episode in the kitchen where maybe you make me something and I make you something.
It's such a deal. And my wife will be blowing her brains out in the kitchen because this is a right she believes she would have earned. So she's got to sit there and watch me cook with you. It'll be great torture for her.
That's true.
It'll work on a lot of levels.
Okay, cool.
Okay. I love you and good luck.
I love you. Thank you.
And now my favorite part of the show, the fact check with my soulmate, Monica Padman. Ready to party?
Yeah. I'm ready.
Y'all ready for facts? Great song to do because there's no lyrics.
That's
Instead
true.
of, all ready for this?
And it gets people pumped up.
Yeah. Is everyone pumped up?
Win-win.
For Samin?
She was so beautiful and lovely and wonderful and special.
You know, we already were in love with her, is fair to say. And then you had that physical in-person interplay of whatever shit travels between us that we're not aware of. And we went to attend, didn't we?
Yeah, she's wonderful.
I don't say this lightly. We want to hang out with her desperately.
Yeah.
At home, watching TV, making food. We want her in our life.
She has a great energy.
One of the best I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen a lot of energies.
Yeah.
What if people with fucking misophonia didn't like to hear shit unwrapped? I'm growing more and more resentful towards it. We started out with very pro misophonia, and now I'm getting resentful.
But it's not just misophonia. It's just extraneous noise. It is very distracting when you're listening to something.
Don't you love it, though, on like a well-produced podcast like Stereo Lab where there's all that Foley and sound effects? You hear people's feet in the grass and stuff. I love that.
Yeah, that's not what's happening when there's just like random weird bad noise in the background.
Oh, okay. Well, I was unwrapping, just so the listener will know. a new package of nicotine toothpicks, which I've transitioned off of chewing tobacco. I'm now on day 13. And I'm banging back, I don't know, 35 now nicotine toothpicks a day. So I got to unwrap them a lot. And it's going to just so happen that sometimes I unwrap them on the program. And I apologize to people with rhapsophonia.
What flavor are they?
This one's cinnamon. I thought it would pair well with the soda I'm drinking.
Oh.
I actually think about that, right? Because I have wintergreen and I have cinnamon.
Right.
Wintergreen does not go with coffee in the morning.
Sure.
It's a bad pairing.
Yeah.
A sommelier would throw up.
Well.
Puke up his lunch.
Okay.
Okay, or her lunch. But cinnamon and coffee, well, that's a well-worn path. Everyone likes like cinnamon coffee mate flavored creamers.
Really?
I don't know.
they?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
But how about a
vanilla.
cinnamon? What about a cinnamon stick in hot beverages like cider?
Yeah.
Yeah, not really related to coffee. Anyways, you can't get through a wintergreen one with the coffee, but the cinnamon one does work nicely. So if anyone's thinking about transitioning off of chewable tobacco to nicotine toothpicks, get cinnamon for your coffee.
But are you drinking coffee?
No. But because I had a great experience with my coffee, I thought it might pair well nicely with my DC.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure. We just went down a road of coffee and then you weren't even drinking coffee.
No, and the visual I thought of was actually cider that you put cinnamon in.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's okay.
Yeah. It's in the spirit of Samin, who's always mixing and maxing, testing trial and error with new flavors and combining unconventional ingredients and coming up with new breakthrough foods. And that's what I'm doing with my toothpicks.
Good job.
Good job.
Great job.
Buddy boy.
Anyway, so you guys were talking about grocery shopping and hunting and gatherers and how you think women have sort of a natural predisposition to liking grocery shopping.
Yeah. And I think shopping in general, any kind of gathering.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously love shopping, but I hate grocery shopping.
Oh, you do?
I hate it.
Why do you hate it? Do you feel like you don't know what you're supposed
Probably
to be getting?
for the same reasons you hate it. All the reasons you said. It's overwhelming. There's too many aisles. You never can find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too much. It feels like such a big chunk of time out of the day.
It does. Now, I wonder if you used my strategy, if it would help for you, because it has improved my shopping experience, which is like I go there knowing exactly what 6 things I'm going to get, and I know where they're at in the store, and I just walk in a straight line to all 6 things, get them, and get out of there.
Sometimes you don't know where they are.
Well, I've been going to the same grocery store for 13 years. You're only 2 years in this grocery store?
Yeah, but
The ones you're using?
I still won't know. Like, if I'm looking up a recipe and I have like 15 things I have to get, if it's something I'm not getting regularly, I don't really know where it is. I mean, I can like look and read the signs, but all this takes energy.
Yeah, no, I know where every single thing at Gelson's is at this point.
Okay.
13 years into going there.
Got
I know
it.
exactly where everything is.
You do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so where's the champagne vinegar?
The champagne vinegar is likely in the very first row across from the poultry and seafood on the condiment aisle. They have a bunch of different vinaigrettes and balsamic and cider vinegar, all the vinegars,
they
yeah.
have.
Dressings are on the very first row at Gelson's. If you're in the aisle on the starboard side.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's right, so I can't. This is not a very good.
Well, you know what we could do is we could make a wager. You could go like, I don't think he's right, and it's worth to me. I think I'm 51% positive he's wrong, and I'm bet $40.
Okay. Well, I don't. You could be right, so I don't know if I want to put any money on this.
Yeah, you should only put money on things you have a pretty good sense of which way it's gonna.
Yeah, I think it's. I do though, kind of think it might not be there though.
Okay.
I think it might be where the spices are.
Well, okay, great. That's what I did say. It could be in that aisle, and I agree with you. The other aisle it would be in is the spices, and I know exactly where that aisle is. That's that's mid grocery store on the port side. If you're walking towards the back of the store,
But do you know the aisle number?
No, I don't know the numbers.
Right. So you still have to like look up and you have to kind of see like, okay, this is.
Well, I don't have to do that. I know in my mind what aisle it is. You know what I'm saying? Even though I've never looked up to see if that's 5A or B or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Great. I don't know.
The one to me that always is the biggest challenge is the garlic bread. What aisle of the frozen aisle? Because where would garlic bread be? You know, there's no real
It is hard.
logical place for it to be. But luckily, Gelson's it's all the booze, beer, and everything on the one aisle, and then on the back side of that is all of the frozen stuff. So it is in the back half of the store on the starboard side case. Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
This is my point about the grocery. I'm just making a point that things aren't as simple as
Go in there and laser
and
beam
just
your
get
way
it.
through.
Yeah, but so I don't like going there.
Yeah.
Is the point. Is the point. So I don't think it's a female male thing.
But you did say you love shopping. You like
I love shopping,
Yeah,
but not for
but just
the-
not groceries.
And I don't like shopping for the gathering element. I want specific stuff
Well-
and I want it to make me feel good. It has nothing to do with like nesting.
Here would be my other bit of data that I would say to support my argument. Very time-worn tradition is that men go to the hardware store on the weekend and they're there for like 4 hours. Women hate it.
Sure.
Their husbands go to the hardware store for almost a full day. And I'd argue it's because they're not good at gathering. They get in that hardware store and they're just aimlessly walking in circles. They now they're overwhelmed. They can't even remember what the fucking they came in there for, a penny nail or some fasteners or some duct tape.
Okay.
But it is a very well-worn cliche that men are in that, they go to that hardware store for half the day on Saturday.
Are you sure they're just not escaping their families for a half day and using that as a pretty good excuse?
That would also be a good argument because their other hobbies are like that, golfing for 6 hours and stuff. These are conventional male hobbies.
Conventional, yeah.
But I
very.
think I used to watch my dad at ACO Hardware in Walled Lake, and it drove me bonkers to go with him. And I can tell you, he was not trying to escape. He was intoxicated in a not a useful way.
Got it. He's just easily distracted by all the stuff.
Yeah, he would have a look on his store at ACO Hardware that I'd never seen on his face anywhere else, which is just kind of like bewilderment and confusion. He was usually a very assertive, knew exactly what he wanted type of guy, but at ACO, I was like watching a 6-year-old version of him.
Wow.
Just a little boy lost.
That's sweet.
And then I also think there's like some kind of weird cultural dynamic going as a man. You're in there and you feel like you should have all that stuff. You know?
Okay.
Like there's this, I wonder if that happens to women at certain stores. So as a man, you're like, I think a man is supposed to have a T-square ruler. And in a 90-degree angle. And shouldn't I have a sledgehammer? And you're like, what on earth will I use this for? But you're just like, this feels like prerequisite tools for a functioning man.
Oh, yeah.
Like you've never thought to yourself like, fuck, I don't have a chainsaw. Right? Like you've never had like a moment where you're like, oh shit, well that just happened to me.
Right.
We were up here in the back of the property and I noticed one of the trees was dead leaning on another tree and I was like, fuck. How could I not have a chainsaw?
Oh, wow. And did you get one?
Yeah, I got one coming. My buddy Greg ordered me one. He sells tools.
Great.
Yeah, it's in the works.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're getting it.
But it was a blow to my self-esteem. It was like a failing of my gender. You know what I'm saying?
Oof, that's so
I'm not
wrong.
I'm not telling other people they should feel that way. I'm just being honest about how I felt.
know.
I was like, oh, a man should have a chainsaw to clean up his property when it's one tree's damaging another tree.
Yeah.
Like what a shortcoming of mine.
I think that's a failing on us as a society.
Sure.
That you personally feel like a failure if you don't have a chainsaw.
Yeah, I did. I felt.
Women have that. They have that with everything, really.
Well, and Kristen has it on a lot of domestic things. Like I'll mention something I don't realize. In the past, I've failed to recognize that a lot of her esteem is tied to her ability to manage a home. And I wouldn't think there's things that she would take personal that she has. And then I've had to really remind myself when I'm irritated with something at the house, like how things are organized or something, that it's not just two people having a non-passionate conversation about where things are placed. It's much bigger than that for her. It's part of her identity that she manages a good home.
Yeah.
You'd like it to not be that way, right?
I think those things are placed on us. So it's good to note that and know like these are outside elements that are coming in. Well, speaking of, so This is a good transition. We talk a little bit how women's lib affected home cooking. And Michael Pollan, I guess, wrote about this. People got a little upset about it. But I don't know why people got upset, because he said...
Well, first of all, most people love to get upset is why they got upset.
That's true. That is exactly true. He said, big food has convinced most of us. No one has to cook. We've got it covered. This began 100 years ago, but it picked up steam in the 70s when big food made it seem progressive, even feminist, not to cook. KFC's ad campaign, which sold a bucket of fried chicken with the slogan, women's liberation. And he said, but if we're going to rebuild a culture of cooking, it can't mean returning women to the kitchen. We all need to go back to the kitchen.
Right.
So he's saying that. He's not saying like this is a woman's job.
There's one, I'm mad at myself that I got so swept up in Samin's just aura that I lost my navigation skills sometimes.
Okay.
One of the things I had hoped to bring up that I didn't was a single component of Marxism I really agree with is that he just evaluated the amount of time dedicated to activities in a community. And one of the most inefficient wastes of time is for everyone to be cooking because it takes everyone an hour to cook.
Right.
But it would only take one person in a community 2 or 3 hours to cook for 25 people. So that's kind of one of the cornerstones of communism. That makes tons of sense. So in communist countries, they would eat communally and people would be designated the cooks. It's just way more efficient. And so, I don't know, I wanted to get her opinion on that. Because just time management wise, that's a great point that Karl Marx observed. Is that this is something that could benefit hugely from being done communally.
Sure. But not necessarily a woman or a man.
No, I could care less who's cooking. Yeah, I got no horse in a who should cook race. I also feel like it's completely outdated at this point anyways. Don't you? Like, I could see this being a real hot button topic in 1985.
Right.
But I think at this point, both genders work almost, with very similar percentages.
Yeah.
So we're all in this boat together that no one has time to cook.
Right.
It seems like a moot thing to even be mad about.
She said that. She said more men have started cooking in the last 1 or 2 decades. Cooking has increased overall from 2003 to 2016.
That's encouraging.
Yeah. The percent of college-educated men cooking increased from 37.9% in 2003 to 51.9% in 2016. College-educated women who cook increased from 64.7% in 2003 to 68.7% in 2016. Well, women with less high school education had no change.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what's funny is we're still trapped in a paradigm of is it male or female, which isn't even relevant in my opinion. What is relevant is socioeconomic.
Totally.
If you're poor, you don't have time to cook, nor can you afford to go out to a restaurant.
Yeah.
So you're kind of double fucked.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's really, that's the issue. Like, I think that the college educated aspect of that statistic is so relevant.
Women with less education spent more time cooking per day than high educated women. But the reverse was true for men. Home cooking in the United States is increasing, especially among men, though women still cook much more than men. Further research is needed to understand whether the heterogeneity in home cooking by educational attainment and race ethnicity observed here contributes to diet-related disparities in the United States. I mean, cooking your own food is always so much better than for you than eating out. Even though I love eating out.
I do too.
It's my favorite thing.
And there's a lot of exceptions to that. If you eat ramen every day at home, you might as well eat it.
That's true.
Yeah.
But that's like not cooking. Like cooking your own food is so much healthier because you know exactly what you're putting in.
Yeah, and assuming you're not cooking like Paula Deen or something.
That's true. But it's harder to do that. Like if you're the one putting the stick of butter in, it really is hard to do.
Absolutely.
You're like, and you have the ability to make a change on it.
Well, we have a favorite restaurant that'll remain nameless, and they pack their ribs in fat overnight.
Yeah.
And they're the best ribs in the planet. Yeah. Now, I can go there and eat them guilt-free, but I couldn't be packing fat around ribs the night before.
At your house.
I couldn't do it.
I know.
Ethically.
I know.
Although some of these nice fancy ramen restaurants, they're probably healthy, huh? A little bit?
No.
No, okay.
I mean, because sure, some of these places are healthier than other places, but we just don't know what they're putting in. Even the other day, I went to a restaurant that was so good, and I got like a healthy omelet. Mm-hmm. And it was great. And after I was like, I made a healthy choice. But then I was like, how do I know if I made a healthy choice? They could have put a ton of butter that I don't know. That could have
packed the eggs in fat the night before.
They probably did. That's why it tasted so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what you assume is that they just cook better than you, but that's horseshit. They're just using way more mayonnaise and butter and all the yummy stuff.
Treats.
Yeah. I mean, they also cook better than you. But,
they do.
But the most significant thing is how much yummy, healthy fats are in there.
Oh, wow. Lots of healthy fats. So many. Okay, so you mentioned the wheat revolution. We've talked a little bit about this before, but that is also called the Green Revolution or Third Agriculture Revolution. A set of research technology transfer initiatives occurring between 1950 and the late 1960s that increased agricultural production worldwide, particularly in the developing world, beginning most markedly at the late 1960s. The initiatives resulted in the adoption of new technologies, including high-yielding varieties of cereals, especially dwarf wheats and rices, in association with chemical fertilizers and agrochemicals, and with controlled water supply and new methods of cultivation, including mechanization. All of these together were seen as a package of practices to supersede traditional technology and to be adopted as a whole. And then, Norman Borlaug, the father of the Green Revolution, who received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1970, credited for saving over 1 billion people from starvation.
And his whole thing was wheat, right?
That's what this whole thing is, yeah.
Because I think we love to vilify. It's so easy and fun and natural. But the big agriculture is just more complicated than there's evil Monsanto, which, of course, maybe they have some evil practices. That's probably true. But 7 billion people, feeding them, it might be impossible to do in an ideal way. So I've in the past been a little frustrated when there's an oil spill and there's this crazy outrage to the company, right? Again, I hate oil spills as much as any other person does, but it feels a tiny bit hypocritical that we're all using petroleum. Someone's going out and getting it. I wish we weren't.
Yeah.
But we are. Every single person that complained drove their car that day. They used plastic in their home. They're using it. They're using a ton of it. So you can only be so outraged if you're buying the product. And there's some company that has to extract it from the earth and then refine it. It's not a perfect process. It sucks that that's going to happen, but it's going to happen until we stop consuming it. So I feel like some of it, to me, treads a little into hypocrisy.
Yes, I see what you're saying, but also no, because if you're outraged by the oil spill and you also feel like we are way too tied to oil in this country, but yes, I'm going to drive my car because I have no other option.
But I don't think you can make a villain of the person supplying the thing you want.
I don't want that. I want every car to be electric, and it to be a widespread situation where that's easy. But that's not the scenario of the country. So
yeah, but then I guess why not be mad at battery technology? Why not be mad at the many roadblocks of making great electric cars available for $20,000? Be mad at those things. The fact that someone's supplying a need in the market, I don't understand.
But they're also they're part of the reason that there's a need.
Well, what I think you can be really mad about, justifiably, is them lobbying to roadblock green technology.
That's what I mean.
That's worth being really mad about.
Right.
But finding out that an oil tanker crashed at some point, oil tankers are going to crash. If you ship billions and billions and billions of barrels of oil around the world, you're going to have spillage. It's just, there's no version where you don't have that.
Yeah.
I guess I just don't think you maintain the right to be that critical of it while using it is my issue. Now, you can be critical of them roadblocking new technology. I think you're on solid footing for that argument. I just don't think you can be like guzzling your can of beer and also criticizing Budweiser. It just seems a little hypocritical to me.
A civilian can't make that decision every day. It's up to the government and bigger and legislation and all of these things to actually make change about it. So I think people can be upset because
but why
they're
at
sort
Exxon?
of the small guy.
Why at Exxon or Standard or BP?
Because they're doing everything they can to prevent change.
What if they weren't lobbying? Let's say that we made that illegal for them to lobby, and all they were doing was providing oil.
Yeah, I mean,
how can you be mad at someone that's providing a need the consumers demanded?
Well, they're demanding
what if they were
it
just
because there's the need.
But what if they were all just like, okay, you're right, we're evil, we stop. The world would collapse. It really would. At this point, the world would collapse.
Well, not if it was a slow process of moving towards different greener, cleaner technologies. If they put all their personnel and all their resources into,
but that's not what business they're in. You can't ask them to be in a business they're not in. They're in the business of getting oil out of the ground, which is hard to do. And they've perfected over the last 150 years that system. Mm-hmm. They're not Elon Musk. They're not at the forefront of electrical motors and battery technology. So it's just, I don't know why we think we could expect them to be a company they're not.
But do you think that about coal?
100%. I'm not mad at coal miners. I'm not mad at coal producers. I am mad that we still consume coal. That's what I'm mad at. I'm mad at us.
That's the exact thing I'm saying.
No. Everyone in America likes to have it both ways. They want to hate the oil company and then use oil. And I'm saying I'm mad that we use coal. I'm mad that we use oil. I'm not mad at the people supplying the thing we need.
Well, I'm not mad at the people working there, no. But the company as a whole, the whole point of them, I don't like, and I cannot like that and drive my car. And wish that I was driving a different car, that all the cars on the road we were able to.
Yes. So the point that, yes, you can wish you weren't driving an oil car.
I drive a hybrid, but yeah.
Yeah. That often runs on gas.
Yeah, half the time or however much. Yeah.
Also, the electricity that's driving the car is being produced by coal fire plants most often.
Yeah.
So,
I know. It all needs to change. I'd love it if all of it changed.
I do too.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to not. I'm not asking anyone to not love that, want that, and wish they weren't doing it.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you're mad at the people supplying the thing you are using. It's like being mad at the drug producers and not the drug addicts.
Yeah, but it would be helpful if those people weren't doing that.
See, I never agree with that.
Why?
I never agree that you're going to attack the drug problem in the world by getting rid of the growers.
Okay,
it doesn't work. You can hopefully get rid of the demand. You won't get rid of the supply.
Yeah.
It's less self-responsible to ask, you know what? I can't stop taking drugs, so I want everyone on the planet to agree they're not going to grow anymore. That's a total lack of self-responsibility, in my opinion.
But it's, well, first of all, this is not an exact analogy because you can live without drugs. We can't live right now without oil.
You could. People are doing it. It's not how I want to live.
I mean, you can't live and be thriving without it, I don't think, currently. Maybe depending on where you live.
Mm-hmm. All that to say, even if I concede to you that you have to have it, it's not the fault of the people producing the thing. You could be mad at your government for not incentivizing.
Well,
okay, great. Then be mad at your government.
Yeah.
They are in charge of protecting this country.
There's some social responsibility that's okay for us to expect from humans and companies. There's a responsibility that's not by law labeled, or maybe it's not black and white clear, but we should be hopefully doing what we can to move forward in a better way, all of us, all the time. So yes, the person providing the drugs, sure, it's not their fault that there are drug addicts, but are they helping the problem or hurting the problem? They're hurting it.
What I'm saying is, do you think the drug addict has a right to be mad and hate the drug cartel that's producing the cocaine? I think that's hugely hypocritical. personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's personal responsibility and I think there's social responsibility. I think both things should be happening at the same time.
What is it? Should they stop getting it out? I mean, I'm asking a sincere, not a leading question. I'm not trying to trap you. What would their responsible, ethical thing to do as an oil company?
I think it's like coal. I think there needs to be some realization on both of those levels that this is something we need to move away from and stop acting like this is a technology that's still important and we're holding on to it.
So what would they do with that info? So let's say they say, yes, we agree. So don't you think the only thing for them to do in this scenario you've set up is they go, okay, well, you're right. We'll stop drilling for oil.
I think there should maybe be a plan in place of over the next 50 years or whatever. Yeah, we're going to slowly get to a point where oil production in this country stops.
Yeah, I just want to be clear though, but BP should say that. So a company should act in a policy that puts them out of business.
Well,
that says we're going to slowly go out of business because it's the ethical thing to do, which that's a fine opinion.
I think tied with the government, there should be some plans in place for moving away from these archaic ways that we.
I think that's the government's job.
Well,
personally.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. But I think part of the reason the government doesn't make those actions is because they're also tied to these companies.
Yeah, they're taking money from them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That part I despise.
So, right. So they're not like but you're saying it's fine because they're just trying to keep their business going.
Yeah, they're a business that takes oil out of the ground and sells it to people. That's what they are. They're not a government. They're not a club. They're nothing other than a business designed solely with the intent of pulling oil out of the ground and giving it to the consumer. So I don't think they're the people we should be looking towards to get rid of pulling oil from the ground. I just think it's very naive and simplistic and not going to result in anything. Like, I don't think people out front of BP with signs, down with BP. I don't think that
is going to work.
Is getting us anywhere. No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But unfortunately,
they should be outside
what
of
also
Congress.
is now they are, and that doesn't work either. So I think people just don't know how to handle this.
And they're
because
frustrated.
They're frustrated
Yeah.
because they are driving cars and wish they weren't, and it's a problem. You know. I mean, yeah, sure, they're just meeting a need. That's true too. But companies need to take on some level of social responsibility.
We really got bogged down, and I liked it. Did you like it?
Yeah.
You like arguing with me less and less. We talked about that the other day.
No, I like arguing with you still. It feels different than it used to feel. That's all.
Oh, really?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Do you think I've painted you into a symbol of the far left or something? Is that what you think I've done?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like when we used to argue, it was just for stimulation. Mm-hmm. And now it doesn't feel like that anymore. It feels like the points it maybe feels like there's some character assessment happening based on these, which I don't feel like used to be the case.
But so last night we debated a bunch, and then even right before we got here, we debated a bunch about an amazing documentary. We just got to see Aaron Lee Carr's new documentary.
It's not out yet, but it's
about Michelle
Carter,
the woman who was texting the young boy
to kill himself.
My assessment of last night's and just before we got here was awesome in the old kind of arguing. Would you agree?
I would.
Yeah, and I think what's different about that and what we just talked about is there isn't a political element to that documentary, really.
Political, I guess, right? But still very
we're just kind
ethical and moral conversation.
Yes, but we're just kind of assessing like who's responsible, who do we think is responsible, what should someone be responsible for, all that.
Yeah.
If to me feels apolitical.
Sure, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And so I'm sensing that maybe first and foremost we didn't have a ton of political somehow
But we did.
Having this many conversations on the podcast. Inevitably, many politically charged topics have come up.
Sure. But this one isn't really.
It is, to me.
guess.
I think I'm basically calling people who drive and say they hate BP hypocrites.
Uh-huh.
But that's clearly a leftist thing. Like, there's no one on the far right. There's no one in the Tea Party calling BP the devil. Mm-hmm. So it's implicitly a little bit political.
That's probably true, yeah.
You know? Yeah, and then I think you and I are circling something where we're discovering you're more left than I'm left, which is totally fine. Mm-hmm. And so maybe when it's that we're not sharing an identity anymore, it's a little more threatening. I'm just trying to figure out really what it is, because I agree with you. Sometimes the debates are more personal than they should be, I guess. And I'm arguing maybe because your and I's identities are somehow involved in these conversations on some level where they're not with the Michelle Carter thing.
Yeah, I think a main thing is we're just closer. Uh-huh. So everything's more personal.
Mm-hmm. I think we did great with Michelle Carter. We had like really different opinions at different times. By the way, what was really fun is our opinions were changing a lot during watching.
But I think also ultimately we have the same opinion about that.
Michelle.
Yeah, so maybe that's also what it is. Like, we're happy to debate all of the things, but we used to, I think, have pretty much the same opinion on everything.
Yeah.
So,
but even starting with Adnan, which we didn't have the same opinion on.
That's true.
We weirdly, yes, but it wasn't, again, that too was, in my opinion, very apolitical. Mm-hmm. Probably.
Yeah, maybe it's just the political element, but I don't like that because the whole, something that we say on here and what I want to be true and is true, I think, is you can have different opinions and that's okay.
Yeah.
So I want that to be the case when we have different opinions.
I do too.
So.
And I think it would be, but I do think it would be helpful for us to have as a red flag for ourselves internally when we're getting upset, just questioning, is this somehow maybe tied to my identity? And do I feel like if we have different identities, we can't be simpatico and best friends and love each other?
Yeah.
When it's an identity thing, we can have different opinions on stuff that is unrelated to identity. Like, totally. I don't consider myself, I'm Dak Shepard. I'm a macaroni and cheese lover. Mm-hmm. That's just not what. So if you do or don't like macaroni and cheese, it's not going to affect me because I don't actually define myself as, Dak Shepard, that macaroni and cheese lover.
Right. Right. You do love macaroni and cheese.
Oh, I love it. Well, we both do, though.
Yeah, we can agree on that. Yeah. Well, speaking of that, this doctor's diet. So the food when we used to eat every Wednesday together, when you would make different meals, that was called this doctor's worst superfood cleanse.
Yes.
But right before that, you did an actual cleanse. You ate nothing but broccoli and spinach for a few days.
Yeah.
And that was called this doctor's first superfood cleanse.
Yes.
And you were inventing it and you were this doctor.
Yeah, we worked on the title quite a bit.
Yeah.
Together.
But then you dropped that and then we
did.
decided to bring in some old meals of yours and that was called this doctor's first worst superfood cleanse. And it was so tasty.
Let's try to make it an annual event.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah, let's pick a month. Maybe summer feels fun because we could eat on the patio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make some good, tasty treats.
Maybe you'd want to do 3 offerings too. I would like that.
I can do that.
Yeah, that would be fun.
They're not going to be as fun because I'll just be like looking up recipes. Like
You don't have go-to standbys?
No, I don't have go-to standbys, and they're definitely not worst superfoods. But I could find some.
But you did make a soup the other day you loved. Like, I'd like to try that soup.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do some stuff too.
Make some things happen.
I will. Anyway. Oh, okay. So you said UCLA had a grade point average of 4.09 when you went there. Problem is, I asked you when you graduated after I looked this up, and I didn't have time to go back and change it. So I looked up for 1999, and you went in 1998.
Yeah.
So it might not be right, but the average GPA for the high school class going in was a 4.23.
Oh my God, even worse.
Yeah, weighted, and 3.77 unweighted. And weighted is when they take into account your AP and things like that, where they add points and stuff.
Right.
Because you can have above a 4.0 because of that. So that's why it's 4.2.
Right. But like your average person took a bunch of AP classes and got A's in them is crazy.
Well, not really, because just if someone who did those classes,
Yeah.
you get 10 points added to your grade. So you could get an 80. And
Oh,
get an
really?
A,
Oh,
which, yeah.
okay.
So, but
But you'd have to get it 100 to go above
Yeah.
4.
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Like you probably got A's in those AP classes.
And then got extra. Yeah, you probably did. Yes. And then 3.77 unweighted, which is still, that's on a regular 4.0 scale.
Right. And probably AP classes, to your point, that you got to be in.
No, I don't think that takes into account classes that you have extra points. That's like, that
okay.
counts as the 80.
Okay.
The average weighted GPA of admitted applicants this past 2018 was 4.31.
Oh, Jesus, it's gotten worse.
And average unweighted GPA was 3.9.
Oh, my, you can't even do that.
Average ACT score was 31 and average SAT score was 1370.
Jeez Louise.
But is 1370 on the new SAT? Where
I
there's
don't
like,
know.
so it's like out of
It's out
20.
of 1600, isn't it?
That's the old, and maybe that's back.
Yeah, I never knew it changed.
It changed to like they added a writing section. So then there was
Oh.
it was out of, I think, 2200 or 2100 or something.
I would have liked that.
That's what I said. I used to
Yeah.
say that would have helped me, but I don't know.
I think so. You're a great writer.
Thank you. You are too.
And I'm a good writer.
You're a great writer.
You're a good, great writer.
Okay, she said she thought the day we recorded this was Emily Dickinson's death day, which was, we recorded it Wednesday, which was the 15th, and it was May 15th.
She was right.
She was right, but she said 200 years, and it was 133 years ago.
Oh, same thing.
Similar.
She's just off by 67 years.
Similar. I couldn't find any information about her having an imaginary love affair with the gardener.
You couldn't?
No, but she was a recluse.
Yeah, I learned that in a
recluse.
lit class.
I didn't see anything like that, but they don't really know. That's the problem, because she wasn't famous back then, so they didn't know. They're only making conjecture about based off of her poems and stuff.
Like who? Okay.
She used to wear only white dresses after a certain point, and then she would just stay in her broom. And she,
What year? Oh, 137 years she's been dead.
33. Well, 133 years ago,
96?
she died.
Oh, 133 years ago
She
she
died.
So 14. Okay, so she died then in 1886.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let's say, how old was she when she died?
That I don't know.
Let's say she was 50 just for shits and
Oh,
giggies.
God, no. I bet she was like,
Older?
no, I think she was young.
Oh, okay. All right, so let's say she was
Had
30.
a lot of ailments.
Okay, so let's just say she was born then in 1856 for fun.
Okay.
Why was I trying to figure out
I
when
don't
she was
know.
born? Oh, I know exactly why. I was wondering, because that much isolation and seclusion, I was wondering if she was addicted to any drugs. Oh. Because isolation and drugs pair so nicely.
Maybe.
There was a very significant part of the population that was addicted to opium.
Right.
Because it was in all the cure-alls that they sold town to town.
Sure.
She was born in 1830.
1830. Oh my God, you were right. Your instinct was right.
Wow.
I thought she died really young because she had all
Tragic.
Yeah, and she had all these like problems. I think she had a lot of sicknesses.
And she
Maybe
feels
tuberculosis.
young, too. She's living in her bedroom at her parents' house. You don't think of a 56-year-old doing
Yeah,
that.
she had some arrested development for sure. So you mentioned the competition, the wine competition between Oxford and Cambridge. That is on HBO Real Sport.
Crap. I got to call. I almost feel like I should call that restaurant in New York and tell that sommelier.
Probably. Does marble have antiseptic properties? The truth about marble is that it has antimicrobial and antibacterial properties that other countertop materials do not have.
Nice.
I know. And I don't think it's like that strong. Like I think it just
Right.
has like some
I can't
property.
build a marble box and keep all our frozen goods in there.
Well, you could try it. She was saying in Italy that whole thing.
Delicious. It sounds
Delicious
like
stuff.
the back fat or something.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I want that.
I don't know. Where did we learned this together, didn't we? High on the hog. That expression, high on the hog.
Oh.
I've been saying it for 44 years. I didn't know where it came from, and I learned it a few weeks ago. And it's that the meat higher on the hog was the more expensive meat.
I'm
Was that on Fat?
It's on her documentary.
okay,
It's
okay.
in the Fat episode, Italy episode.
Oh, right. So I felt like it was tied to her, high on the
Yeah.
hog, and then
Guys,
it was.
watch that documentary series. It's so good.
It is. I'm going to watch it again.
I know, me too.
You know what I would really like to do is plan a trip to Italy
Sure.
and then watch it just before we
Oh,
left.
and then get really amped up. I'd love that.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we can watch it while you make your pasta. You have or your spaghetti. You have a couple pasta spaghetti dishes.
Maybe I'll make Grandma Yolis's the whole 5-hour deal.
Oh wow.
It won't be as good as the one I make, but it'll be unique and worth it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks about
She didn't
it.
look like your grandma, but she had a double master's degree. I'm really proud of her.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah. I love you.
Love you.
And I'm committed to figuring out how we can talk peacefully about our different opinions.
Well, we do a good job.
Yeah. But I'm committed to being better at it.
Okay, me too.
Okay. I love you.
Bye.